Chapter 40, 381. Wang Yiyuan's last words. Duan Ling Tian did not wait for Wang Yiyuan before he entered the secret realm, because he knew that even if they entered together, they would be transported to different places at the periphery of the secret realm as soon as they entered. From the periphery of the secret realm, all of them had to make their way to the heart of the secret realm. During the journey, they would have to face many challenges. If the secret realm in the Crimson Demon's little world was a circle, the prodigies would have to make their way from the edge of the circle from all directions to the center of the circle. Only those who managed to reach the heart of the secret realm within a certain period of time could leave the secret realm alive. It was difficult to meet another person at the periphery of the secret realm, but the chances of meeting another person would continue to increase as they drew close to the heart of the secret realm. I heard that we'll be able to obtain clues after entering the secret realm. We can obtain clues from animals, plants, and beasts. We just need to look for them. It's not the end beyond the circle. If we go in the wrong direction, we'll travel on a road that leads to nowhere, getting further and further away from the heart of the secret realm. Duan Ling Tian had learned about this from Wang Yiyuan before entering the secret realm. This was a test of one's observational skills. At this moment, Duan Ling Tian hovered in the sky above a tranquil forest. When he looked around, he saw the scenery in each direction was the same. The surroundings were quiet, and there was nothing that caught his attention. Duan Ling Tian's expression was serious. He knew that this tested his observational skills, and he needed to find the clues to get to the heart of the secret realm. He was not so foolish as to search for the clues on his own. He quickly opened his little world and asked for the 5 divine elements' help. The 5 divine elements were formed from the heaven and earth spirit energy. As such, they were very sensitive to their environment. In this regard, Duan Ling Tian, a human, was far inferior to them. "That tree is different from the others," the clear heaven divine would said as he gestured to a tree in a distance on Duan Ling Tian's right before he detailed the tree's abnormalities. After listening to the clear heaven divine wood, Duan Ling Tian took a closer look at the tree. At first glance, the tree looked no different from the other trees, but after a while, he noticed that more than half of the branches on the tree were strangely pointing in one direction. Due to the number of verdant leaves on the branches, without the clear heaven divine wood, he would not have been able to discover this at all from a distance, and he would have to turn over the leaves to discover this anomaly. As the wood element, the clear heaven divine wood naturally was able to sense the difference easily. "I'll take a look at the other trees." Duan Ling Tian did not immediately approach the tree that the clear heaven divine wood pointed out. Instead, he decided to look around first. After all, with just a small mistake now, he would be off to a bad start going in the wrong direction. Who knew if the tree was just a red herring? Duan Ling Tian looked around the large forest for an hour before he finally confirmed that only one tree was different from the others. He also asked for the opinions of the other divine elements, and the world-cleansing divine water also used the divine tree of life to confirm the matter. After doing all these things, he finally continued to advance. "It's in this direction." Not long after, a sudden commotion appeared in the sky where Duan Ling Tian had just left. Following the commotion, a figure appeared in the sky. If Duan Ling Tian were still here, he would have recognized the figure immediately. It was none other than the master of Crimson Demon Ridge, the supreme powerhouse who sent him to this hellhole. The Crimson Demon looked in the direction in which Duan Ling Tian left before he shook his head and muttered under his breath, "I should increase the difficulty of the secret realm again. His law of wood isn't his strongest suit, so I thought it would be difficult for him to find the clue. I forgot that he also has the 5 divine elements. The clear heaven divine wood is naturally more sensitive to trees compared to those who comprehend the law of wood. His strength is almost comparable to that of the strongest top advanced supreme gods. With this, even if this is his first time coming to the secret realm, it won't be hard for him to leave. I don't have much time left. I'll increase the difficulty of the secret realm this time. There are more than 30 people left. I only need half of them to survive. The next time I open a secret realm again, I'll directly select 3 candidates with the most suitable bodies. The Crimson Demon's eyes lit up with greed as he continued to mutter to himself. I hope that Duan Ling Tian has the most suitable body for me to possess. I'm very satisfied with his body. He's young, powerful, and attractive. This time, I'll try to snatch the liquid from the divine fountain from him. Let's see if it's possible for me to force him to bring it out. Meanwhile, Duan Ling Tian was naturally unaware of the Crimson Demon's nefarious plan. He continued to advance after confirming he was going in the right direction. At the same time, he easily passed the checkpoints and challenges he encountered along the way with his extraordinary strength. These tests at the beginning might be difficult for ordinary intermediate supreme gods, but they were naturally not difficult at all for Duan Ling Tian. Although the difficulty of the tests increased the further he went, he was still strong enough to pass them easily without any issues. The challenges aren't difficult at all. At the same time, many people among the more than 30 prodigies, including Wang Yiyuan, were struggling in different places. Wang Yiyuan had not recovered from his previous injuries after all. This time, the difficulty of the secret realm increased again. It was only natural that he was struggling. I'll definitely die during the next test. Currently, Wang Yiyuan looked very different from how he looked when he first entered the secret realm. Not only was his robe in tatters, but it was also stained with blood from his wounds. His face was also stained with blood. He panted as he moved, and he looked completely exhausted. Should I take a break first? No, if I take a break, the next test might come to me directly. In the past, Wang Yiyuan had encountered such a situation. As such, he was very vigilant now. After traveling for a while, Wang Yiyuan finally encountered the next test. A huge demon appeared during this test and further injured Wang Yiyuan. It's too strong. I might be able to kill him in my prime, but now... Wang Yiyuan looked at the demon charging toward him with an expression of despair and eyes brimming with unwillingness. Although he was unwilling to die, he did not have the courage nor the energy to resist anymore. In the end, he subconsciously closed his eyes when he felt the blade-like wind blowing against his face as the huge demon drew close. Just as Wang Yiyuan thought he was going to die, he heard a loud noise. He instinctively opened his eyes and discovered that a purple figure had appeared in front of him at some point. Although he could only see the other party's back, he recognized the other party immediately. Brother Ling Tian. Duan Ling Tian had arrived at the critical moment. He had just passed a test earlier when he heard a huge commotion from this place. Since it was relatively near, he decided to come over to have a look. When he arrived, he saw the scene of Wang Yiyuan nearly getting killed. Apart from Ao Long Yu and Tian who offended him, Duan Ling Tian would help everyone, let alone Wang Yiyuan, whom he was most familiar with in the Crimson Demon's little world. After all, even if he did not know the others, they were all in the same boat. If he could help, he naturally did not mind lending the others a helping hand. Duan Ling Tian turned around and nodded with a smile at Wang Yiyuan. However, the smile on his face vanished immediately, and his expression changed drastically. He hastily sent a 7-colored sword ray toward Wang Yiyuan's feet. Alas, he was still too slow. Boom! The ground under Wang Yiyuan's feet shook before a grayish-brown spike shot up from the ground and pierced Wang Yiyuan's body. Following that, a shrill cry rang from the depths of the ground, and the noise grew softer and softer before it finally disappeared. It's hidden so deep. Duan Ling Tian did not expect there to be another powerful huge demon hidden underground in Wang Yiyuan's test. Moreover, the powerful demon was skilled in the law of earth. Before he had time to react, it had already attacked and injured Wang Yiyuan. Even from a distance away, Duan Ling Tian could clearly sense Wang Yiyuan's vitality draining out of his body. Even Wang Yiyuan's soul was growing weaker and weaker. Brother Ling Tian. After the death of the huge demon that comprehended the law of earth, the spike it formed, which pierced Wang Yiyuan, had also disappeared. At this moment, Wang Yiyuan was lying on the ground. Wang Yiyuan looked at Duan Ling Tian with a glimmer of hope in his eyes as Duan Ling Tian quickly stepped forward and brought out healing divine pills for Wang Yiyuan. However, Wang Yiyuan refused the healing divine pills and said, "It's useless. I know my body best. I have at most 15 minutes left." Wang Yiyuan launched into a coughing fit, spitting out blood. At the same time, he moved with great difficulty as he brought his spatial ring out and handed it to Duan Ling Tian as he struggled to say through his coughs, "Brother Ling Tian, I've already removed my ownership over this spatial ring. You likely won't be interested in its content, however. There's one thing in there. I'm not sure what it is, but it may be of some help to you. If it turns out to be useful to you, I hope you can do me a favor. I'm dying. I know I can't force you to help me, but I hope." Chapter 4382, 4382, Arriving at the Heart of the Secret Realm. 4382, Arriving at the heart of the secret realm, Duan Ling Tian returned to his senses after Wang Yiyuan fell to the ground limply with his eyes open. Duan Ling Tian's gaze was complicated at this moment. Although he had lived for 1,000 years and had experienced countless deaths, he still could not but feel helpless. He could not help but wonder if he could really escape from the Crimson Demon. Before Wang Yiyuan passed away, he had asked Duan Ling Tian to help his family and his clan. "There's nothing I can do if I die here or end up being possessed by the Crimson Demon. Will I be able to help him?" Duan Ling Tian wondered inwardly. He felt that Wang Yiyuan had overestimated his ability. Perhaps it's just a way to attain peace before he passes. Duan Ling Tian sighed inwardly as he raised his hand. The law of life, combined with the divine tree of life's vital energy, swept out and healed the wounds on Wang Yiyuan's body before Duan Ling Tian stored Wang Yiyuan's body in Wang Yiyuan's spatial ring. "If I can't escape, I hope you'll rest in peace there. If I'm able to escape, I'll bring your body back to your family." After putting away Wang Yiyuan's spatial ring, which Duan Ling Tian now owned, Duan Ling Tian continued on his journey. Since he was still in the secret realm, he had no time to look at the identified item that Wang Yiyuan mentioned. He had no doubt that the item had to be special since Wang Yiyuan mentioned it before his death. Moreover, it was also very mysterious since even Wang Yiyuan could not tell what it was. In Duan Ling Tian's mind, he had no doubt that Wang Yiyuan had obtained the mysterious item in the outside world before he was imprisoned in the Crimson Demon's little world. It was impossible for Wang Yiyuan to cherish the item if it was obtained in the Crimson Demon's little world, and it was also impossible for the Crimson Demon to leave a worthless thing in his little world. Duan Ling Tian continued to advance to the heart of the secret realm. Although the difficulty of the tests continued to increase, he still passed the tests relatively easily. If he were to find a test challenging, he felt that only a few prodigies would be able to survive the secret realm. As he continued to advance, he discovered that the tests encountered tested his intelligence and ability to react. Without sufficient intelligence and the ability to react, it would be difficult to pass these tests even if one was very strong. Duan Ling Tian was unaware that the Crimson Demon was monitoring his progress in the secret realm. Duan Ling Tian is definitely the most outstanding one among the prodigies. His performance is flawless. There are also a few prodigies who seem to be having an easy time in this secret realm. I'll raise the difficulty to the highest in the next secret realm. At that time, we'll see how many prodigies will be able to survive. In the end, if there are a few suitable candidates like Duan Ling Tian, I'll choose Duan Ling Tian. Although the Crimson Demon was mostly focused on Duan Ling Tian, he also monitored the other prodigies. He naturally had a high regard for Duan Ling Tian compared to the others. After all, Duan Ling Tian did not only possess a huge amount of liquid from the divine fountain, but Duan Ling Tian, who was a little over 1,000 years old, was also the youngest among the group of prodigies. Most importantly, Duan Ling Tian, who was an intermediate supreme god now, was very close to becoming an advanced supreme god. If there were no unforeseen circumstances, it was likely that Duan Ling Tian would become an advanced supreme god before reaching 2,000 years old. There's nothing interesting to watch anymore. I thought I'd be able to find a way to obtain the liquid from the divine fountain from him, but the tests were too easy for me to do so. Moreover, I also can't suddenly raise the difficulty of the tests again. Otherwise, it'll alarm him. Forget it, I better not push him too hard now. If he destroys his spatial ring before I possess him, I won't be able to get even a drop of liquid from the divine fountain. Previously, the Crimson Demon planned to snatch the liquid from the divine fountain from Duan Ling Tian first because he was not certain if he would possess Duan Ling Tian in the end. He knew Duan Ling Tian was very strong and highly talented, but he was not sure about Duan Ling Tian's other abilities. However, after monitoring for a while, he was rather satisfied with Duan Ling Tian's performance. At the same time, he was also rather certain that Duan Ling Tian would definitely be among the last ones standing. Although he was almost 100% certain that Duan Ling Tian had the most compatible body, he still wanted to put Duan Ling Tian through the final test. After all, he could only possess one body once in his lifetime. It was of great importance that he possessed the most compatible body since it would raise his chance of success. Duan Ling Tian, who was unaware that the Crimson Demon coveted his liquid from the divine fountain, continued his journey to the heart of the secret realm. During the journey, he encountered two prodigies whom he was not familiar with, but he did not pay attention to them. As for the duo, they gave Duan Ling Tian a wide berth after they witnessed how strong he was when he killed Peng Pu Sha. Duan Ling Tian is so strong. He's just an intermediate supreme god, but he's on par with top advanced supreme gods. Once he becomes an advanced supreme god, perhaps, only two people among us are a match for him. The two prodigies were forced to join forces to pass the tests in the secret realm. However, due to the increasing difficulty of the tests, they were also losing the advantage they gained from joining forces. They were also able to work together due to the trust they built over the years. Many prodigies would not join forces unless they trusted each other. Even if Duan Ling Tian was extremely strong, they still would not join forces with him if given a chance. After witnessing his strength, they had become wary of him. At this time, one of the two prodigies suddenly asked, "Do you think we'll be able to beat him if we join forces?" "Are you crazy? We can't even beat Ao Long Yu and Tian Hu, let alone Duan Ling Tian. Didn't you see how terrified Ao Long Yu and Tian Hu were before entering the secret realm?" The other prodigy refuted as he shook his head. The prodigy, who raised the question, fell silent for a moment before he shook his head and said with a sigh, "I didn't expect that I'd be so frightened of an intermediate supreme god. He's truly a monster." When Duan Ling Tian finally arrived at the heart of the secret realm, he saw a huge transportation formation. The formation glowed brilliantly whenever a prodigy stepped into the formation, and the light would dissipate when the prodigy vanished out of sight. Just as Duan Ling Tian arrived, he saw a black-clad aloof young man standing in the formation. They both exchanged a look before the black-clad young man disappeared. He arrived a little earlier, and it seems like he didn't suffer any injuries. He must be one of the strongest among the group of prodigies mentioned by Wang Yiyuan. A few years ago, Wang Yiyuan had mentioned a few prodigies who were top advanced supreme gods. Duan Ling Tian knew he was not any weaker than the black-clad young man who had just left. After all, he did not use the 5 divine elements and the divine tree of life when he was undergoing the tests. There was also a slight delay when he encountered Wang Yiyuan. Let's get out of here first. This secret realm is easy, but it might not be the case with the next secret realm. I wonder if Sister Water and the divine tree of life gained anything from this secret realm. Before arriving at the heart of the secret realm, Duan Ling Tian found the final 2 tests relatively challenging. However, he did not ask for help from the 5 divine elements and the divine tree of life because they were occupied. It was part of their plan to help Duan Ling Tian escape from the Crimson Demon. I hope they gain something out of this experience since it'll increase my chances of escaping from the Crimson Demon. Apart from that, according to Sister Water, if I become an advanced supreme god, my chances of success will increase significantly. It'll increase my success rate from 50% to at least 70%. Chapter 4383, 4383, the Spherical Order Token 4383, the Spherical Order Token. When Duan Ling Tian's vision returned to him, he found that he had already left the secret realm and returned to the place where they were held captives by the Crimson Demon. The black-clad young man who had left ahead of him had also left, nowhere to be seen. After returning to his cave, Duan Ling Tian asked the world-cleansing divine water in his little world, "Sister Water, did you and the divine tree of life gain anything from the secret realm the Crimson Demon opened?" Although Duan Ling Tian had never communicated with the divine tree of life, he knew it had its own consciousness. It could not communicate with him now because it had yet to return to its peak condition. Only the 5 divine elements who had spent years with it could communicate with it at this moment. Needless to say, although he could not communicate with the divine tree of life, it would still help him when it sensed that he was in danger. "It's just as I expected. There's nothing special about the secret realm," the world-cleansing divine water replied. "The secret realm in the Crimson Demon's little world is created with the help of his divine tree of life." In other words, the energy that supports the secret realm came from the divine tree of life in his little world. After discussing the matter with the other divine elements, we concluded that the best time for you to escape this place is when the next secret realm opens. For this reason, you have to cultivate diligently before the secret realm opens again. The chances of you escaping are greater if you're an advanced supreme god when you enter the secret realm. Just as they previously speculated, Duan Ling Tian learned from the world-cleansing divine water that the secret realm was supported by the Crimson Demon's divine tree of life. Duan Ling Tian's divine tree of life previously took root in the little world of a supreme powerhouse, after all. As such, it was also familiar with the techniques and requirements for a supreme powerhouse to create a secret realm in his or her little world. Coupled with the world-cleansing divine water's knowledge, everyone was confident about helping Duan Ling Tian to escape from the Crimson Demon's little world. Advanced Supreme God, Duan Ling Tian's eyes shone brightly as he thought to himself. He took a deep breath to calm down before he brought out the spatial ring Wang Yiyuan gave him and brought out the mysterious object that Wang Yiyuan mentioned before his death. The object was spherical, and it looked like an order token. There were intricate and ancient carvings on the surface of the object that Duan Ling Tian was not familiar with. He could not tell if the carvings were just pictures or words. Apart from that, the material the object was forged from was so extraordinary that even the 7 orifices exquisite sword could not leave a scratch on it. In the beginning, Duan Ling Tian thought that the spherical object was a profound divine metal, since it roughly resembled the profound divine metal in its primitive form. However, the profound divine metal in his little world disagreed. "This is definitely not a profound divine metal," the profound divine metal said. "Then, what is it?" Duan Ling Tian asked curiously. "Little Tian, toss it into your little world. Make sure it lands at the root of the divine tree of life," the world-cleansing divine water suddenly said. Duan Ling Tian's eyes lit up with anticipation as he tossed the spherical object into his little world as instructed. He could tell that world-cleansing divine water intended for the divine tree of life to have a look at the object. Why didn't I think of it earlier? After all, the divine tree of life used to be rooted in a supreme, powerhouse's little world, so it has to be very knowledgeable. Wang Yuan and I might not recognize the object, but it may not be the case for the divine tree of life. Duan Ling Tian watched expectantly as the divine tree of life glowed brilliantly. As the divine tree of life's branches reached toward the spherical object, a faint vital energy from the spherical object lit up and tried to stop the branches from approaching it. However, it was no match for the divine tree of life's vital energy and was quickly snuffed out. "It has vital energy. What is it exactly?" Duan Ling Tian was surprised to see the pure vital energy from the spherical order token. Although the energy was weak, it was identical to the divine tree of life's energy. It was also purer than Duan Ling Tian's vital energy when he used the law of life. According to the world-cleansing divine water, he had to comprehend the law of life to the perfect form if he wanted to produce such a pure energy. The branches of the divine tree of life curled around the spherical order token before they released a gentle flow of vital energy into it. Initially, Duan Ling Tian was puzzled, but after a few moments, his eyes widened in shock when he saw the spherical order token greedily devouring the vital energy from the divine tree of life. However, the divine tree of life did not resist at all and allowed the spherical object to absorb its vital energy. Duan Ling Tian could not help but ask the world-cleansing divine water, "Sister Water, what's going on?" "I'm not sure as well," the world-cleansing divine water replied. "I asked the divine tree of life about it, but there's no response. It seems like it's inconvenient for it to reply. Let's wait for a while. Although I'm not sure what's happening, I can feel that the divine tree of life is willingly letting it absorb its vital energy. I don't know what the object is, but I'm sure it's not ordinary." After a pause, she asked curiously, "Little Tian, where did you obtain it?" Duan Ling Tian told the world-cleansing divine water about Wang Yuan and everything that happened. After listening to Duan Ling Tian, the world-cleansing divine water could not help but exclaim, "You'll owe him a huge favor if this thing happens to be useful to you." Duan Ling Tian nodded as his eyes shone with determination. "Even if this object is useless to me, I'll definitely carry out his final wish to the best of my ability because of his trust in me." "You're a responsible man, little Tian," the world-cleansing divine water remarked. Subsequently, Duan Ling Tian and the world-cleansing divine water waited for a response from the divine tree of life. After 3 days and 3 nights, the divine tree of life finally stopped supplying vital energy to the spherical order token. Compared to the beginning, the divine tree of life's light had dimmed. Obviously, it had depleted quite an amount of vital energy. Upon seeing this, Duan Ling Tian did not urge for a response from the divine tree of life. Even a person would be exhausted after supplying energy to another person for 3 days and 3 nights. After a while, the world-cleansing divine water's excited voice rang in Duan Ling Tian's mind. "Little Tian, the object that Wang Yuan gave you is a treasure." Duan Ling Tian looked confused when he heard the world-cleansing divine water's words. Although he knew that the spherical order token was not ordinary after seeing the divine tree of life's reaction to it, he did not dare to have high hopes. Moreover, even if it helped with the comprehension of his law of life, it would be impossible for him to forsake the law of space and the law of time for the law of life. After all, in his opinion, the law of space was stronger than the law of life, and the law of time was stronger than the law of space. Chapter 4384, 4380 for the Spirit in the Order Token 4380 for the Spirit in the Order Token, Sister Water. What is it? Duan Ling Tian maintained his composure, even after the world-cleansing divine water claimed that the spherical order token was a treasure. It was definitely a treasure if it could help him to further comprehend the law of life. However, he was reluctant to shift his focus to the law of life. After all, not only did he have a very profound comprehension of the law of time and the law of space, but he also possessed the supreme powerhouse divinities for the law of space and the law of time respectively, which helped him greatly in comprehending the two laws. Let alone in the God-defying world, the supreme powerhouse divinity was a supreme treasure even in the outer boundary. If that thing can help me to comprehend the law of life, I wonder if its ability is better than the supreme powerhouse divinity. Duan Ling Tian did not think the spherical order token's ability would be superior to that of the supreme powerhouse divinity. Nonetheless, he waited patiently for the world-cleansing divine water's response. The world-cleansing divine water might not be completely aware of Duan Ling Tian's current situation, but he was confident that she was aware of his thoughts regarding the law of life. "It's a key," the world-cleansing divine water finally replied. Duan Ling Tian was briefly stunned by the reply. After a while, he thought it must be a key to a place that was filled with treasures that would be useful to him. Unlike what he had assumed, it had nothing to do with the law of life. Duan Ling Tian's eyes lit up with anticipation as he asked, "A key? A key to where or what?" According to Wood Spirit, the key holds the aura of a supreme powerhouse. Most importantly, that supreme powerhouse was someone the tree's former master idolized. In fact, that supreme powerhouse is much stronger than his former master. Wood Spirit also said that the key has a spirit that was created by said supreme powerhouse after he had comprehended the law of life to the paramount stage. According to Wood Spirit, after that supreme powerhouse's demise, the purpose of the key is to open up the independent realm that holds the possessions of that supreme powerhouse. Whoever is capable of awakening the spirit will gain access to all the treasures in the independent realm. After a beat, the world-cleansing divine water continued to say, "Wood Spirit and its former master saw that supreme powerhouse once from a distance. This was before I lived in the divine tree of life." It said that the supreme powerhouse was extremely powerful. Its former master even mentioned that the supreme powerhouse was a second-tier supreme powerhouse, only second to the three strongest mysterious supreme powerhouses from the three major worlds. In the past, there were fewer than 30 second-tier supreme powerhouses in the myriad worlds. Just so you know, there was only one second-tier supreme powerhouse from the God-defying world in the past acknowledged by the myriad worlds. Wood Spirit was the name of the divine tree of life in Duan Ling Tian's little world. Duan Ling Tian had only learned of its name not too long ago. Duan Ling Tian was shocked by the world-cleansing divine water's words. He did not expect the spherical order token to belong to a second-tier supreme powerhouse. Moreover, that person was idolized by his divine tree of life's former master. One had to know that its former master was also a supreme powerhouse. One could only imagine how strong that supreme powerhouse must have been. According to the world-cleansing divine water, the spherical order token was a key left behind by a second-tier supreme powerhouse that would open up an independent realm created by said supreme powerhouse. The person who awakened the key's spirit would have access to that supreme powerhouse's possession. After returning to his senses, Duan Ling Tian asked, "Sister Water, does that supreme powerhouse have any direct descendants or disciples?" Wood Spirit said that the supreme powerhouse was a sectless cultivator who wandered the myriad worlds and the outer boundary. There were rumors that he was a native of the outer boundary. The outer boundary isn't part of the myriad worlds, and it's located outside of the myriad worlds. Such a place had produced many powerhouses throughout the years, and some of them even became supreme powerhouses. According to Wood Spirit, it's normal for that supreme powerhouse to place all his possessions in an independent realm before his demise for the fated person. The world-cleansing divine water replied. Wood Spirit said that you can claim ownership over the key. All you have to do is drip your blood on it to claim ownership. Although its spirit was awakened by it, it doesn't make a difference since you're its master now. Duan Ling Tian cast aside his curiosity and quickly claimed ownership of the spherical key after he brought it out of his little world. He dripped his blood on it according to the world-cleansing divine water's instruction, and a beat later, he felt an inexplicable connection with another being. The divine tree of life in your little world awakened me. As such, you're the fated person mentioned by my master. Once you become stronger, I'll bring you to the independent realm my master left behind to inherit his possessions. When the spherical key trembled, a childish voice rang in Duan Ling Tian's mind. After it finished speaking, the key turned into a streak of light and entered his body, settling right next to his soul, startling him. "Rest assured," the childish voice said again, "I won't hurt you. After all, you're the fated person mentioned by my master. I will rest near your soul and protect it at the critical moment. However, my ability is limited. Defending against soul attacks is my only skill. I'm afraid I won't be able to help you with anything else even if I'm willing to help you." Duan Ling Tian heaved a sigh of relief after listening to the spirit's words. At the same time, a thought appeared in his mind, and he could not help but ask, "You said that you'll take me to the independent realm your master left behind after I grow stronger. How much stronger do I need to be?" In Duan Ling Tian's opinion, it would be best if he could enter the independent realm after he became an advanced supreme god. Alas, he was destined to be disappointed by the spirit's reply. "You'll have to become a supreme powerhouse first." Chapter 4385. 4385 Ao Long Yu, and Tian who seeks protection. 4385 Ao Long Yu, and Tian who seeks protection, a supreme powerhouse. Duan Ling Tian felt dispirited upon hearing the words of the spherical key, and the excitement in his heart vanished in just an instant. The idea of becoming a supreme powerhouse seemed like a distant dream to him now, since he was not even an advanced supreme god yet. Moreover, even after becoming an advanced supreme god, it would not be easy to become a supreme powerhouse. He knew that he was able to become an intermediate supreme god and stabilized his cultivation base so quickly only because of the divine fountain. Such an opportunity was unlikely to present itself again in his lifetime. The amount of liquid he had in his possession was only enough for him to become an advanced supreme god. It was not enough to stabilize his cultivation base, let alone help him become a supreme powerhouse. What a pity that I can only enter the independent realm that supreme powerhouse left behind after I become a supreme powerhouse. Duan Ling Tian sighed inwardly. He had expected to be able to enter the independent realm after he became an advanced supreme god, but his expectations were quickly destroyed by the spherical key's words. "Initially, I thought I might be able to use the treasures or resources in the independent realm to speed up the process of becoming a supreme powerhouse after I become an advanced supreme god." Duan Ling Tian could not help but sigh again. After a while, He quickly calmed down and reminded himself that the spherical key was given to him by Wang Yiyuan before Wang Yiyuan's death. If I manage to escape alive, I'll definitely fulfill your last wish on your behalf, Duan Ling Tian thought to himself solemnly as he recalled Wang Yiyuan's final words. Although Wang Yiyuan had passed away, he was determined to keep his word. I should calm down and start cultivating. Hopefully, I'll be able to become an advanced supreme god before the secret realm opens again. Duan Ling Tian was aware that his only chance to escape from the Crimson Demon was when the next secret realm opened again. According to the world-cleansing divine water, if he did not break through into the realm of advanced supreme gods, he only had a 50% chance of escaping from the Crimson Demon. Nonetheless, although the success rate is higher if he became an advanced supreme god, there was still a chance that he might fail. No matter what, I should try my best to obtain a higher success rate. Duan Ling Tian inhaled deeply and calmed down before he brought out the liquid from the divine fountain and began to cultivate. Just like before, he lost track of time as he immersed himself in cultivating, hoping to break through into the realm of advanced supreme gods. At this time, a few people left the secret realm one after another after Duan Ling Tian returned to his cave. Unlike Duan Ling Tian, they were injured, some minor and some severe. A frail figure stumbled out of the secret realm at this moment. He retched before he spat out a mouthful of blood, causing his face to turn pale. As he wiped the blood off the corners of his lips, he looked around his surroundings vigilantly. When he confirmed that he was alone, he finally heaved a sigh of relief. If I'd known better, I wouldn't have provoked Duan Ling Tian. I didn't expect him to be so powerful. If Duan Ling Tian were present, he would have recognized the man immediately. The man was none other than Long Yu, one of the two prodigies who sought trouble with Duan Ling Tian before they entered the secret realm. The Long Yu from before was arrogant and dignified, but he looked exhausted and weak now. Although he managed to survive the secret realm, it took a huge toll on him. With his injuries now, he might not survive the next secret realm. Moreover, he had provoked Duan Ling Tian previously, so there was a chance that Duan Ling Tian would seek revenge from him and kill him before the secret realm opened again. He was no match for Duan Ling Tian even when he was in peak condition, let alone now that he was severely injured. Just like what Tian Hu and I discussed earlier before entering the secret realm, we should seek protection from someone after we leave the secret realm. Duan Ling Tian is powerful, but there must be a few prodigies in the Crimson Demon's little world who aren't afraid of him, Long Yu muttered to himself. Instead of returning to his cultivation ground, he left in a different direction. At the same time, Tian Hu was in a cave located in one of the distant mountain ranges. Tian Hu, what do you mean by this? A handsome white-clad young man sat at a stone table, sipping a cup of tea, as he looked at the spatial ring that Tian Hu presented him. Young Master Jun, this is more than half of my life savings. I came here to seek protection from you, Tian Hu said earnestly with a solemn expression on his face. Seek protection from me. The white-clad young man was stunned by Tian Hu's words. After a moment, he laughed bitterly and said, I'm afraid you've come to the wrong person. Just like you, I'm also a prisoner of the Crimson Demon. You should look for the Crimson Demon instead. Tian Hu did not give up. He continued to say, Young Master Jun, I only need you to protect me until the secret realm opens again. Once we enter the secret realm, you don't need to protect me anymore. A hint of desperation could be seen in Tian Hu's voice when he spoke. He was naturally unwilling to die in Duan Ling Tian's hands before the secret realm opened again. He wanted to raise his strength before the secret realm opened again, so he would have a higher chance of surviving. Moreover, if he became stronger, he might not have to fear fighting Duan Ling Tian with Long Yu. He knew that Long Yu was on the verge of a breakthrough, and it was possible that Ao Longyu might be able to do so before the secret realm opened again. All in all, he and Ao Longyu needed protection to buy time for themselves. In his opinion, he and Ao Longyu might not be a match for Duan Ling Tian now, but that might not be the case after a few years. The white-clad young man looked at Tian Hu knowingly as he asked, "Are you afraid that the newcomer will attack you?" Tian Hu took a deep breath and replied, "Young Master Jun, I'll be honest with you. Ao Longyu and I are indeed afraid that he might make a move on us. That's why I'm seeking protection from you as a preventive measure. I believe he won't dare to cause trouble if you're around." Tian Hu was clearly confident about the white-clad young man's ability. The white-clad young man, Shangyuan Jun, was a top advanced supreme god and one of the strongest prodigies in the Crimson Demon's little world, after all. In Tian Hu's opinion, Duan Ling Tian was at most on par with Shangyuan Jun. It would be difficult for Duan Ling Tian to beat Shangyuan Jun. Shangyuan looked at Tian Hu before he shifted his eyes to the spatial ring and said, "It's not a problem for me to protect you. However, I'll have to see if your sincerity is worth my protection. Otherwise, you'll have to look for another person to protect you. After all, I'm not the only person in this little world who's capable of protecting you." Tian Hu bowed slightly and handed the spatial ring to Shangyuan Jun as he said, "Young Master Jun, please have a look." After accepting the spatial ring, Shangyuan Jun claimed ownership of it before he took a look inside. His gaze was calm in the beginning, but his eyes suddenly lit up like the stars in the sky a moment later. His breathing was slightly heavy, and he had to take a deep breath to calm down before he looked at Tian Hu and said, "You're really generous. I have no reason to refuse you. We have a deal. If we were in the outer boundary, I wouldn't make an enemy out of him due to his high innate talent. However, there's no reason for me to fear him here since all of us are just waiting for our deaths in the Crimson Demon's little world." After a brief pause, Shangyuan Jun continued to say, "You'll stay and cultivate here until the secret realm opens again. If Duan Ling Tian shows up, I'll stop him." "Thank you, young Master Jun," Tian Hu said, delighted. He finally felt at ease after Shangyuan Jun agreed to his request. When Tian Hu successfully obtained Shangyuan Jun's protection, Ao Longyu had just arrived outside of a cave. The cave was the cultivation ground of another prodigy comparable to Shangyuan Jun. After greeting the prodigy, Ao Longyu expressed his intention and made an irresistible offer. Similar to Tian Hu, he also successfully obtained protection from a prodigy who was one of the strongest prodigies in the Crimson Demon's little world. It did not take long for word of the duo's actions to spread. The surviving prodigies could empathize with the duo. After all, if they were in the duo's shoes, they would have done the same. It's impossible for Duan Ling Tian to attack Ao Longyu and Tian Hu now that the duo has Sun Jia Yao and Shangyuan Jun's protection. Chapter 4386, 4386 Duan Ling Tian, the Advanced Supreme God. 4386 Duan Ling Tian, the Advanced Supreme God. Duan Ling Tian was naturally unaware that Ao Longyu and Tian Hu were so frightened that they had both paid a high price to hire the strongest prodigies in the Crimson Demon's little world to protect them. At this moment, Duan Ling Tian was completely immersed in cultivating, losing track of time and everything else with the help of the divine fountain. His cultivation improved very quickly, and he was drawing closer and closer to the realm of advanced supreme gods. Even the Crimson Demon, who would spy on Duan Ling Tian occasionally, could sense the change and improvement in Duan Ling Tian's cultivation base. This kid's cultivation speed is truly amazing. Initially, I planned to open the secret realm after a few years. However, based on the current situation, I'll delay it until he becomes an advanced supreme god. The next secret realm will be the final secret realm. Only one person will be chosen in the end. Previously, the secret realm opened ahead of time. This time, I'll postpone the opening. It'll also give the others more time to recuperate. The dozen or so prodigies in the Crimson Demon's little world who survived the secret realm assumed that the next secret realm would open ahead of time as well. They speculated that it would open again in a few years. However, after a few years had passed, they discovered that the secret realm did not open. Then another few years passed and they found that the secret realm also did not open. Perhaps the secret realm will open according to the old schedule. Many people shared this idea. However, when the time came again, the secret realm still did not open, causing the prodigies to feel puzzled. What's going on? Why isn't the secret realm open yet? Perhaps there's a delay because it was opened ahead of time previously. Something doesn't feel right. Although the prodigies were confused, there was nothing they could do. After all, everything was under the Crimson Demon's control in this place. Among the prodigies, many of them were direct descendants of supreme powerhouses, and those supreme powerhouses had always been willing to help them. Alas, they had no way to seek help from those supreme powerhouses in the Crimson Demon's little world. A few of them even had life-saving jade tokens, which would help them contact a supreme powerhouse in the outside world, but were useless in the Crimson Demon's little world. Unsurprisingly, all forms of communication were cut off in the Crimson Demon's little world, making it impossible for them to seek help. The Crimson Demon had planned everything meticulously after all. Similarly, Aolong Yu and Tian Hu were also puzzled. What's going on? The secret realm hasn't opened yet. At this time, the duo had healed from most of their injuries. They thought they would have to enter the secret realm injured, and did not expect to have the time to heal their injuries before entering the secret realm. In any case, this is good news for me. It seems like I'll be able to heal all my injuries before entering the secret realm again, perhaps. I'll also be able to raise my strength further before entering the secret realm. Tian Hu muttered to himself with bright eyes. Similarly, Aolong Yu's eyes lit up as well as he muttered under his breath. I've grown stronger. I might not be a match for Duan Ling Tian alone, but if I join forces with Tian Hu, it'll be very difficult for him to kill us. If Tian Hu's strength has improved as well, we might even be on par with him if we join forces. Since the secret realm has yet to open, I'll continue healing my injuries. Once I'm completely healed, I'll be able to protect myself better. Duan Ling Tian was the only one who did not pay attention to the opening of the secret realm. He was still immersed in cultivating, and left the 5 divine elements to guard him. If there was trouble, they would alert him immediately. He was not worried about missing the secret realm, since the Crimson Demon's voice would jolt him awake even if the 5 divine elements did not remind him. While Duan Ling Tian cultivated, he absorbed the liquid from the divine fountain and converted part of it into his divine energy. As a result, his divine energy continued to grow stronger. When Duan Ling Tian finally opened his eyes, he had already successfully broken through. His eyes shone briefly with excitement before he quickly calmed down. How long have I been cultivating? It feels like I've absorbed most of the liquid from the divine fountain in my possession. I have less than half left. After checking his spatial ring, he found that he had 3/5 less of what he had before he began to cultivate. He only had 2/5 of liquid from the divine fountain left. His eyes widened slightly as he asked the world-cleansing divine water, "Sister Water, how long have I been cultivating?" "You've been cultivating for 32 years, the world-cleansing divine water replied. 32 years? So long? Duan Ling Tian's expression changed slightly. Then a thought appeared in his mind and he asked, "Why isn't the secret realm open yet? There's no announcement from the Crimson Demon, right? I couldn't have missed it otherwise even if I was cultivating. What's going on? Moreover, if I missed entering the secret realm, the Crimson Demon definitely wouldn't let me off so easily. It seems like the secret realm truly hasn't opened yet." Duan Ling Tian was still puzzling out this matter when the Crimson Demon's voice rang in the air. The secret realm will be open after 3 months. Duan Ling Tian was slightly stunned that the secret realm would open soon after his breakthrough. It was clear that the opening of the secret realm was deliberately delayed. He wondered if it was just a coincidence. After a moment he asked, "Sister Water, do you think the Crimson Demon is aware of my breakthrough? We're in his little world after all." The world-cleansing divine water replied, "Of course. As long as he keeps an eye on you, he'll naturally be aware of it. Why do you ask?" The world-cleansing divine water knew that Duan Ling Tian would not ask such a question for no good reason. Duan Ling Tian told the world-cleansing divine water about the strange coincidence. Soon after you broke through, the Crimson Demon announced the opening of the secret realm in 3 months. The opening has also been delayed the longest this time. The world-cleansing divine water thought about it for a moment before she said, "If I'm not mistaken, it's not a coincidence. He must have waited for you to break through into the realm of advanced supreme gods. It's clear that he values you. Apart from that, it's likely that he'll choose the most suitable body to possess this time." The world-cleansing divine water's words confirmed Duan Ling Tian's speculations. However, he really did not expect the Crimson Demon to choose a compatible body so soon. He asked skeptically, "Sister Water, why do you think that he'll choose the most compatible body this time? Even if the elimination rate is 50% like before, he'll still have a few prodigies left to choose from. Is he going to directly select someone out of the remaining survivors?" "I have my reasons for thinking this way," the world-cleansing divine water said. "Previously, you told me that the death rates have been getting higher and higher each time the secret realm opens. It's clear that the Crimson Demon is growing anxious and can't wait any longer. It seems like he has no plan of undergoing his upcoming once-in-10,000-year heavenly tribulation. Moreover, it's likely that it's coming up soon. That's why he's eager to possess a new body and use his clan's technique to hide and escape from the heavenly tribulation." Duan Ling Tian felt the world-cleansing divine water's analysis made sense, and his expression turned solemn immediately. Upon seeing the expression on Duan Ling Tian's face, the world-cleansing divine water said, "Little Tian, you don't have to worry too much. Whether or not this is the final secret realm, the plan has always been to escape during this time, and it doesn't affect our plan at all." Duan Ling Tian's expression eased up after listening to the world-cleansing divine water's words. The world-cleansing divine water continued to say, "If he really waited for you to break through before opening the secret realm, then he has inadvertently helped you. Now that you're an advanced supreme god, we have a higher chance of successfully escaping." With this, a smile appeared on Duan Ling Tian's face. At the same time, the other prodigies in the Crimson Demon's little world also heard the announcement, causing their hearts to tremble. It's finally here. They had waited a long time for the secret realm to be opened, and none of them expected to wait for 32 years. Some of those who were severely injured, like Ao Long Yu and Tian Hu, also managed to recover from their injuries during this time. Not only did Ao Long Yu and Tian Hu completely heal from their injuries, but they also managed to raise their strength. Similar to before, the duo decided to join forces again. With their bond and rapport, they were not any weaker than the respective prodigies they hired to protect them if they joined forces. Chapter 4387. 4387, The Crimson Demon in Disguise. Duan Ling Tian Seeks Revenge. 4387, The Crimson Demon in Disguise. Duan Ling Tian Seeks Revenge. Although Ao Long Yu and Tian Hu had grown stronger and were on par with the two prodigies they hired if they joined forces, none of them left the protection of the two prodigies. After all, the duo had spent a huge fortune hiring them to protect them until they entered the secret realm. Moreover, If they had a conflict with Duan Ling Tian now and were injured before entering the secret realm, their chances of survival would drop. At this time, Ao Long Yu sent a message to Tian Hu. The secret realm will open in 3 months. Before that, it's not necessary for us to meet. Those two prodigies won't leave their cultivation ground for us, and will lose their protection if we leave their cultivation grounds. Let's have them escort us to the entrance of the secret realm when the time comes. I agree, Tian Hu replied. He shared the same thoughts as Ao Long Yu. Ao Long Yu continued to say, Duan Ling Tian didn't show up at all over the past 32 years, and it's unlikely that he'll look for trouble over the coming 3 months. However, we still shouldn't let our guards down. Needless to say, Tian Hu agreed with Ao Long Yu again. While the duo decided on meeting up after 3 months when the secret realm opened, they were unaware that a purple figure flew up from a mountain range and flew in the direction of their cultivation ground. After asking around, Duan Ling Tian arrived at Ao Long Yu and Tian Hu's cultivation ground, which was also a cave. Is this really their cultivation ground? Duan Ling Tian frowned when he saw that the cave was empty. Did they die in the secret realm, or did the person who pointed me here lie to me? Duan Ling Tian instinctively turned and looked at the young man who pointed him to Ao Long Yu and Tian Hu's cultivation. When the young man saw Duan Ling Tian looking at him, he smiled faintly and asked, "This is indeed their cultivation ground. Do you want to ask me where they've gone?" After Duan Ling Tian killed Peng Pu Sha at the entrance of the secret realm previously, everyone was aware of his strength that was comparable to a top advanced supreme god despite only being an intermediate supreme god. However, the young man did not seem afraid of him. Do you know where they've gone? Duan Ling Tian's eyes flashed with surprise upon hearing the young man's words. His gaze changed as well when he looked at the young man. Previously, he only thought that the young man was kind for pointing him to Ao Long Yu and Tian Hu's cultivation ground. However, seeing that the young man followed him here and even spoke to him so casually, he felt that the young man was definitely not as simple as he had thought. "I do," the young man replied with a nod. Both of them were severely injured during their time in the secret realm. They spent a fortune hiring a prodigy each to protect them. Those prodigies are the strongest among us. If you go looking for them now, I'm afraid those two prodigies they hired won't just stand aside and do nothing. Duan Ling Tian raised his eyebrows upon hearing this. He did not expect Ao Long Yu and Tian Hu to be so cautious. However, this did not affect his determination to kill them at all. After all, if he were weaker, he would have died because of them. As the saying went, an eye for an eye. He would not let this matter go. When Duan Ling Tian found out that the prodigies protecting Ao Long Yu and Tian Hu were top advanced supreme gods and were among the strongest people here, his eyes lit up immediately. He had just recently become an advanced supreme god, and he needed to fight to adapt to the changes in his divine energy. Although he had yet to stabilize his cultivation base, his divine energy had grown much stronger than before. For this reason, he was eager to find out exactly how strong he had become, and the best way to do that was to fight. "Can you please tell me where they are now?" Duan Ling Tian asked politely. The young man led Duan Ling Tian to a place before he pointed in 2 directions and said, "They are in the caves over there." The caves are the cultivation grounds of the 2 prodigies. Tian Hu is in the cave on the right, and Ao Long Yu is in the cave on the left. After the young man finished speaking, he turned around and prepared to leave. Duan Ling Tian thanked the young man and watched the young man leave. He inexplicably felt that the young man was very mysterious. He wondered inwardly, is he also among the strongest prodigies in this place? When the young man finally vanished out of sight, Duan Ling Tian heard the sounds of hushed conversations. "Who's that person with Duan Ling Tian? I've never seen him before. He must be a recluse." "I dare say that I've seen everyone here, including Duan Ling Tian, who's a newcomer. However, I really don't remember seeing that person before. 4 men hovered in the distant sky, looking at Duan Ling Tian. They had emerged from their caves just at the moment Duan Ling Tian and the young man arrived. Duan Ling Tian frowned when he heard the 4 men's words. They've never seen that young man before. I wonder how that kid will fare against them now that he has become an advanced supreme god. The young man muttered to himself before he vanished into thin air. If Duan Ling Tian were present, he would have recognized the young man's voice, which had changed from before. The voice belonged to none other than the Crimson Demon who imprisoned him here. The Crimson Demon had disguised himself. He did not know much about Duan Ling Tian, but he was certain that someone like Duan Ling Tian would not let Long Yu and Tian Hu go after what they had done. He was even more certain when Duan Ling Tian saw him and asked him about Long Yu and Tian Hu's whereabouts. As such, he decided to push the boat along and show Duan Ling Tian the way to Long Yu and Tian Hu's locations. That young man must be the Crimson Demon in disguise. Duan Ling Tian speculated inwardly after hearing that the 4 men had never seen the young man before. He was further convinced when he recalled how the young man had told him about Long Yu and Tian Hu's whereabouts and situations. He speculated that the Crimson Demon wanted him to find Long Yu and Tian Hu so the Crimson Demon could see his strength after becoming an advanced supreme god. The Crimson Demon really thinks highly of me. He waited for me to break through before he decided to open the secret realm, and now he disguised himself and waited for me outside my cave to lead me here, Duan Ling Tian thought to himself. With this, he was even more certain that the Crimson Demon hoped to possess his body. After a brief moment, Duan Ling Tian returned to his senses. His eyes glinted coldly as teleported to one of the 2 caves. It's payback time. Duan Ling Tian murmured to himself before he said, Long Yu, are you going to come out or do you want me to come in and drag you out? Duan Ling Tian had imbued his voice with divine energy, and as such, although it was not loud, it covered a vast area. Duan Ling Tian, at this time Tian Hu, who was in the midst of cultivating, trembled. His expression was grim as he rose to his feet, preparing to go outside. In just a moment, a cold voice rang from another room in the cave. Tian Hu, Duan Ling Tian has become an advanced supreme god. Tian Hu froze in his tracks, shocked. Subsequently, a young man walked out of a room. He was the prodigy whom Tian Hu hired to protect himself. He was among the strongest prodigies here. Apart from that, not only did he leave the secret realm unscathed previously, but he also left ahead of Duan Ling Tian. Chapter 4388, 4388 1 verses 4, 4388 1 verses 4, Advanced Supreme God. Not even in Tian Hu's wildest dreams did he imagine the intermediate Supreme God, whom he and Long Yu feared since 32 years ago, would become an advanced Supreme God so soon. Without Shangyuan Jun's reminder, Tian Hu, who had grown stronger and was confident about facing Duan Ling Tian with Long Yu next to him, would have been fearless. However, after learning that Duan Ling Tian had become an advanced supreme god, he could not help but feel shaken. He trembled again when he recalled the trace of divine energy in Duan Ling Tian's voice. Indeed, Duan Ling Tian had become an advanced supreme god. Tian Hu looked at Shangyuan Jun with a grim expression and said, Young Master Jun, after he deals with Long Yu and Sun Jia Yao, he'll definitely come for me and you. Shangyuan Jun grunted. I wouldn't have agreed to your request if I'd known he would become an advanced supreme god so soon. Follow me. We'll go to Long Yu and Sun Jia Yao. Although Shangyuan Jun was confident about his ability, he did not dare to underestimate Duan Ling Tian at all. Even if Duan Ling Tian had yet to stabilize his cultivation base, Duan Ling Tian's divine energy had grown a level stronger. Even if he was one of the strongest prodigies here and a second-tier top advanced supreme god, he was not completely confident he would be able to defeat Duan Ling Tian. Even if Duan Ling Tian isn't a first-tier top advanced supreme god, he must only be slightly weaker. Not only am I no match for him, but he might even be able to beat me in a short time, Shang Yuan-jun thought to himself. He looked calm, but inwardly he felt rather worried. At this moment, Shang Yuan-jun regretted agreeing to protect Tian Hu. He did not expect Duan Ling Tian to have a breakthrough during this time. Shang Yuan-jun knew that he was no match for Duan Ling Tian, so he decisively brought Tian Hu with him to look for Sun Jia Yao, who was on par with him, and Ao Long Yu. Swoosh! Swoosh! When Shang Yuan-jun and Tian Hu arrived outside Sun Jia Yao's cave, Sun Jia Yao and Ao Long Yu were coincidentally walking out of the cave. The four of them naturally gathered and stood together without the need to speak. Swoosh! 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 At this time, people began to fly over from all directions. Apart from Duan Ling Tian and the four people who stood across from him, 11 people were present on the scene. Based on this, it seemed like only 16 prodigies were left in the Crimson Demon's little world. Duan Ling Tian glanced at Ao Long Yu and Tian Hu before he looked at Shang Yuan-jun and Sun Jia Yao and asked, "Both of you are intent on protecting them?" Duan Ling Tian vaguely recognized Shang Yuan-jun and Sun Jia Yao. He had seen them when he fought Peng Pu Sha, but at that time, he was unaware that they were the strongest prodigies here. Shang Yuan-jun furrowed his brows slightly as he said sincerely, "Duan Ling Tian, I can't let you lay a single finger on Tian Hu until the secret realm opens 3 months later. Wait until you leave the secret realm before you make a move on him. After that, if he survives, I promise that I won't protect him anymore even if he offers me a huge fortune." Before Duan Ling Tian responded, Sun Jia Yao, a blue-clad young man, chimed in, "The same goes for me as well." Upon hearing Shang Yuan-jun and Sun Jia Yao's words, Ao Long Yu and Tian Hu's faces twisted into unsightly expressions. When they sought protection from the duo, they were seriously injured, so they did not have high hopes of surviving the next secret realm. Things naturally changed when the secret realm only opened 32 years later. They healed their injuries completely, increasing their chances of survival. Alas, they did not expect that they would still need the duo's protections after coming out of the upcoming secret realm. Ao Long Yu and Tian Hu exchanged a look and quickly discussed among themselves before they sent a message to Shang Yuan-jun and Sun Jia Yao. "Young Master Jun, Brother Sun." Unsurprisingly, Ao Long Yu and Tian Hu offered up everything they had in exchange for Shang Yuan-jun and Sun Jia Yao's protection. They were willing to do anything as long as they could preserve their lives. Unfortunately, Shang Yuan-jun and Sun Jia Yao ignored the duo. After all, they were not so foolish as to offend Duan Ling Tian, who had become an advanced supreme god and was likely stronger than them now. They naturally hoped to come to a compromise with Duan Ling Tian. Meanwhile, panic set in when Tian Hu and Ao Long Yu saw Shang Yuan-jun and Sun Jia ignoring them. They naturally did not want to face Duan Ling Tian if they survived the upcoming secret realm. After all, even if they survived, they would undoubtedly be injured. At that time, it would be impossible for them to defend themselves against Duan Ling Tian, who had become an advanced supreme god. Although they knew they could not avoid death in the Crimson Demon's hand, they wanted to live for as long as they could. Moreover, there was a chance that the Crimson Demon might let them go after choosing a person to possess. After all, as a supreme powerhouse, the Crimson Demon could easily erase their memories and release them without any consequences. All the prodigies hoped to survive and leave this place, and as such, many of them held onto this hope. At this time, the other prodigies could see how wary Shang Yuan-jun and Sun Jia Yao were now that Duan Ling Tian had become an advanced supreme god. although the duo did not say it outright. Based on Sun Jiao's response, it was clear that he stood on Shang Yuanjun's side. It seems like Shang Yuanjun and Sun Jiao are going to join forces. Clearly, they're pressured by Duan Ling Tian, who has become an advanced supreme god. F letter 1d69b, E letter 1d68t, letter 1d66c, letter 1d452, letter 1d68b, letter 1d697, letter 1d698, Cyrillic letter 475, letter 1d41e, letter 1d48d, and period. Unbelievable. A newcomer who's been here for a few decades became so powerful so quickly. I wonder how strong he has become. It's possible that he's the strongest person here. The other prodigies whispered among themselves as they looked at Duan Ling Tian, wondering how he would react. Most of them thought that Duan Ling Tian would compromise. Otherwise, he would need to face 4 opponents at once. Putting Shang Yuanjun and Sun Jiao aside, Long Yu and Tian, who would definitely kill Duan Ling Tian if the opportunity arose. At this moment, Duan Ling Tian looked at Shang Yuanjun and Sun Jiao and said nonchalantly, "I'm afraid none of you are able to stop me from killing them." The prodigies were all shocked by Duan Ling Tian's words. Shang Yuanjun scoffed. "How presumptuous! Why don't you give it a try?" Sun Jiao said indignantly. Duan Ling Tian raised his hand. Following that, his doppelgangers from the Law of Space and Law of Time flew toward Shang Yuanjun and Sun Jiao. They did not engage in a fight with the 2 prodigies. Instead, they used the Law of Space and the Law of Time respectively to restrain the 2 prodigies. In terms of strength, the doppelgangers were naturally no match for Shang Yuanjun and Sun Jiao. In fact, Duan Ling Tian did not send his doppelgangers to defeat or kill the 2 prodigies. What he wanted to test was his doppelgangers' abilities to restrain the 2 prodigies. Subsequently, Duan Ling Tian said to Shang Yuanjun and Sun Jiao through voice transmission, "Gentlemen, we can still coexist peacefully as long as you don't destroy my doppelgangers. Otherwise, I won't hold back if I encounter both of you in the secret realm." Shang Yuanjun and Sun Jiao's expressions darkened immediately. At this time, Duan Ling Tian's divine energy burst forth. At the same time, he cast the Law of Time and mobilized the energies of the divine tree of life and the 5 divine elements. Swoosh! Like a huge 7-colored sword ray, Duan Ling Tian, who was brimming with his divine energy, the divine tree of life's vital energy, and the 5 divine elements' mysterious energies, shot toward Long Yu and Tian, who. Boom! 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 Terrifying heat waves swept out into the surroundings, stirring up a violent wind in their wake. Boom! Boom! In just a moment, a mountain range collapsed into a giant pit, stirring up a heavy cloud of dust. "Hang in there. Young Master Jun will rescue us after the doppelgangers are destroyed." Tian Hu cried out to Long Yu as he mobilized his divine energy and cast his strongest law. He brought out his prominent divine artifact before he shot toward the huge 7-colored sword ray. Upon seeing this, Long Yu had no choice but to follow suit and join forces with Tian Hu. Chapter 4389, 4389, Duan Ling Tian's trails are exposed. 4389, Duan Ling Tian's trails are exposed. Tian Hu and Long Yu did not think they would lose to Duan Ling Tian if they joined forces with Sun Jiao and Shang Yuanjun. For this reason, they did not despair even though Sun Jiao and Shang Yuanjun were held back by Duan Ling Tian's doppelganger. They thought that the duo would come to their rescue after destroying the doppelgangers. Swoosh! The terrifyingly huge 7-colored sword ray that eclipsed the sun caused chills to run up the other prodigy's spines as it shot out in the air. At the same time, they whispered among themselves, "Duan Ling Tian is too terrifying. With his strength, he's definitely the strongest among us." Long Yu and Tian Hu were truly foolish to have offended him. Fortunately, I didn't provoke him even though I dislike him. Otherwise, I'd be like them. There's no doubt that Sun Jiayao and Shang Yuanjun won't protect them anymore once the secret realm opens. Similar to Ao Long Yu and Tian Hu, the other prodigies assumed that Sun Jiayao and Shang Yuanjun would join forces with Ao Long Yu and Tian Hu to fight Duan Ling Tian after the doppelgangers were destroyed. Meanwhile, although Ao Long Yu and Tian Hu attacked with all their might, they were still suppressed by Duan Ling Tian. Although their attacks were quite powerful, they only managed to slow down the sword ray. In the end, the huge sword ray easily destroyed their attacks. What are they doing? At this moment, Ao Long Yu and Tian Hu began to panic when they saw that Sun Jiayao and Shang Yuanjun were still restrained by the doppelgangers. They did not expect the doppelgangers to restrain the duo for so long. At the same time, they quickly exhausted their strength trying to defend themselves against Duan Ling Tian's fierce attack. "Are you waiting for Sun Jiayao and Shang Yuanjun?" Duan Ling Tian asked Ao Long Yu and Tian Hu through voice transmission before he said, "I just warned them not to destroy my doppelgangers. Otherwise, I won't hold back if I run into them in the secret realm. I'm afraid it'll only be in vain if you're waiting for them to come to your rescue." Although Duan Ling Tian had spoken tonelessly, his voice was like the thunder in Ao Long Yu and Tian Hu's ears. They finally realized that Duan Ling Tian had threatened Sun Jiayao and Shang Yuanjun. Most importantly, based on the duo's performance, it was clear that the threat was effective. In just a blink of an eye, they were overwhelmed by despair. After all, it was clear that the duo would not come to their rescue. Following that, Duan Ling Tian easily crushed Ao Long Yu and Tian Hu's defenses before he killed them. In just a blink of an eye, two relatively strong advanced supreme gods ceased to exist, leaving only their weapons and spatial rings behind. Silence reigned in the entire place as the prodigies watched the two advanced supreme gods die. At the same time, Duan Ling Tian withdrew his two doppelgangers. Shang Yuanjun and Sun Jiayao looked at Duan Ling Tian at the same time. A hint of reluctance flashed in their eyes as they returned to their respective cultivation grounds. They felt like they had suffered humiliation today for failing to protect Ao Long Yu and Tian Hu. They also felt embarrassed because they knew it was obvious that they had held back when they were facing the doppelgangers. Duan Ling Tian did not linger and returned to his cultivation ground as well. He had achieved his goal of killing Ao Long Yu and Tian Hu. He had no reason to stay any longer. He wanted to continue to cultivate so he could grow stronger and escape from the Crimson Demon. After Duan Ling Tian left, the other prodigies sighed. "Ao Long Yu and Tian Hu are really unfortunate. I didn't expect Shang Yuanjun and Sun Jiayao to abandon them. How unreliable. This just proves that they're not trustworthy. We should be cautious of them and think twice even if we have to join forces with them in the secret realm, the cyclic world." The Sun clan in the Upper Tridomains, Luo Domain, was acknowledged as the strongest force among the three major prime supreme rank forces. Whenever the clan's supreme powerhouse returned, the members of the clan would receive him with a grand celebration. This was not surprising since they worshipped him like an omnipotent deity. However, this time, the celebratory atmosphere was absent during the supreme powerhouse's return. On the contrary, an ominous atmosphere loomed over the clan's estate. At this time, Sun Yicayan, one of the clan's most brilliant prodigies, and a middle-aged man were kneeling in the main hall. The middle-aged man was Sun Long. Sun Yicayan wore an expression of disbelief on his face while Sun Long wore an expression of regret and helplessness. "Tell us how both of you met him in detail." Sun Ping Yun, the Sun clan's one and only supreme powerhouse and pillar of strength, sat in the main hall. He seldom returned to the Sun clan, and this time he returned because of Duan Ling Tian. He discovered that it was likely that Duan Ling Tian, the terrifying prodigy from the god-defying world who escaped, was the same person as the intermediate supreme god who came to the Sun clan a few decades ago. As news of this matter spread, the supreme powerhouses from the cyclic world began to show up at the Sun clan and demand liquid from the divine fountain from Sun Ping Yun. In their opinion, since Duan Ling Tian was able to escape to the outer boundary from the Sun clan's estate, Duan Ling Tian must have given something to the Sun clan. However, the truth was Sun Ping Yun knew nothing about this matter. Not only did he not gain anything from Duan Ling Tian, but he also did not know that Duan Ling Tian was the intermediate supreme god who used the Sun clan's transportation formation to go to the outer boundary. When he first caught wind of this matter, he had returned to the clan immediately to investigate the matter. He wanted to find out who had given Duan Ling Tian permission to use the Sun clan's transportation formation to the outer boundary. It did not take long for him to find out that Sun Yikai was the key person, and that Sun Long was present when the former met Duan Ling Tian. Thank you for listening to the story on KevinAudio.com. Chapter 43, 90 World Supreme Powerhouse. Sun Yikai was in disbelief. He did not expect that Duan Ling Tian, the god-defying world's heaven-defying prodigy, was brother Li Feng, who had rescued him. He knew that the monstrous prodigy from the god-defying world's lower realms was stronger than most advanced supreme gods despite being only about 1,000 years old. Moreover, due to his strength and luck, Duan Ling Tian also possessed a huge amount of liquid from the divine fountain that even supreme powerhouses coveted. Meanwhile, Sun Long recounted their encounter with Duan Ling Tian to Sun Ping Yun, the supreme powerhouse of the Sun clan. Based on your words, it seems like he really did save Yikai's life, Sun Ping Yun said as he shifted his gaze to Sun Yikai, the Sun clan's most outstanding prodigy. He paused for a moment before he continued to say, however, the coincidence is too uncanny. He rescued Yikai, but is it a coincidence that our clan also possesses the transportation formation to the outer boundary? Who knows if everything was set up by him? As a supreme powerhouse, Sun Ping Yun had lived the longest among the members of the Sun clan. Based on his experience, he did not think that Sun Yikai and Sun Long's encounter with Duan Ling Tian was a mere coincidence. Sun Yikai had never doubted his encounter with Li Feng, the man who saved him. However, after listening to Sun Ping Yun, he did not think that it was impossible for it to be a setup. Not only did Duan Ling Tian hide his identity, but he also came to the cyclic world and coincidentally rescued Sun Yikai, the Sun clan's most outstanding prodigy, which gave him access to the Sun clan's transportation formation that led to the outer boundary. Moreover, it was not hard to guess that Duan Ling Tian did not dare to go to the outer boundary from the god-defying world due to the liquid from the divine fountain in his possession that even supreme powerhouses coveted. Sun Yikai took a deep breath and said solemnly with his forehead still pressed against the ground, "Old ancestor, this is all my fault. Second uncle doesn't have anything to do with it. I'm willing to bear the consequences and be punished." Upon hearing this, Sun Long's expression changed immediately. Yikai. Sun Long might lose his qualification to become the next clan leader of the Sun clan if the supreme powerhouse of the Sun clan held Sun Yikai responsible. Sun Ping Yu grunted and said coldly, "How loyal. Very well, I'll fulfill your wish if that's what you want. From this day onward, Sun Yikai, your status as a direct descendant of the Sun clan is revoked. Your status will only be reinstated after you become an advanced supreme god." The expressions of Sun Long and the other high-ranking officials of the Sun clan who supported Sun Long and Sun Yikai changed immediately. Sun Long leaped to his feet and hastily said, "Old ancestor, it's all my fault. Yikai is still young and inexperienced. It's only normal for him to make mistakes." As an elder, I failed to guide him. Sun Long was like an ant on a hot pan at this moment. If Sun Yu Qian was temporarily cast out of the Sun clan, he would not be able to compete for the position of the clan leader of the Sun clan until he became an advanced supreme god. With that, one of the other candidates would become the next clan leader for the next 10,000 years at least. The clan leader of the Sun clan would usually serve for 10,000 years before a new clan leader was elected. If there were no other more suitable candidates, the clan leader would continue to serve the clan. Old ancestor. After Sun Long spoke up, quite a few high-ranking officials chimed in, but they were all silenced by Sun Ping Yun's frosty gaze. This matter is settled, Sun Ping Yun said expressionlessly. Although he looked indifferent, he felt rather gloomy at this moment. After all, he still had to face the other supreme powerhouses who suspected he gained some benefits from Duan Ling Tian. Duan Ling Tian was unaware that his identity had been exposed in the cyclic world, and that the supreme powerhouses had found out that he came to the outer boundary through the Sun clan's transportation formation. Moreover, word of this matter had also spread to the god-defying world. In the pavilion on a floating island in the endless void, a middle-aged man said respectfully to the young man in the pavilion, "My lord, Duan Ling Tian is already in the outer boundary." The young man nodded slightly in response. The middle-aged man hesitated for a moment before he said, "My lord, he's just an intermediate supreme god. Isn't it too cruel to let him go to the outer boundary? Nobody in the god-defying world would dare to lay a hand on him if you speak out. Are you afraid that he'll die prematurely?" the young man asked. "Yes," the middle-aged man replied with a slight nod. In the middle-aged man's opinion, Duan Ling Tian was very lucky so far. However, the outer boundary was much more dangerous compared to the god-defying world. A monstrous prodigy like Duan Ling Tian was not unprecedented in the god-defying world, but most of them died shortly after going to the outer boundary. "It's his fate if he dies," the young man said. "He'll be able to survive in the outer boundary as long as he lays low. If he dies there, it only proves that he's foolish to have drawn unnecessary attention." Despite his words, the young man looked highly upon Duan Ling Tian, who was a rare prodigy in the history of the god-defying world. However, he knew that Duan Ling Tian would only become an ordinary supreme powerhouse if Duan Ling Tian was not tempered by his experience in the outer boundary. After Master's demise, there has never been a supreme powerhouse who ranks among the top 30 supreme powerhouses in the myriad worlds. The god-defying world's current peace is all thanks to Master's reputation. However, if the other supreme powerhouses find out that Master has passed, the god-defying world will likely face a crisis, the young man thought to himself with a sigh. After a moment, the young man said, "If there's nothing else, you can take your leave." The middle-aged left after the young man spoke. The young man continued to stare ahead and sighed heavily. "Things are too difficult. The two senior uncles have high hopes for me, but I'm afraid they've overestimated my ability. I might be on par with them now, but I'm still far from becoming a world supreme powerhouse. In the history of the myriad worlds in its prime, there were only 40 world supreme powerhouses at most. Now, there are fewer than 30 of them. Master used to be one of them. There are at least 800 to 1,000 supreme powerhouses like me and my senior uncles in the myriad worlds." Duan Ling Tian's innate talent and comprehension skills are shocking. However, it's impossible for him to become a world supreme powerhouse if I keep him under my wings. Every world supreme powerhouse went through many trials and tribulations in the outer boundary before they rose to the peak. As such, there's no doubt that the outer boundary is the best training ground for him. Letter 1D41F, R letter 1D452, letter 212F, letter 1D604, letter 1D41E, letter 1D657, letter FF4E, OV, letter 1D68T, letter 1D661. Calm in the Crimson Demon's little world. Duan Ling Tian was naturally clueless about the high hopes that the supreme powerhouse in the God-defying world had for him. At this moment, he was completely engrossed in cultivating, determined to grow as strong as he could before the secret realm opened. It would increase his chance of escaping from the Crimson Demon's little world after all. 3 months later, just as Crimson Demon had announced before, the secret realm opened. Swoosh! Duan Ling Tian flew out of his cave toward the entrance of the secret realm. When he arrived, a few prodigies were already gathered there and were chatting among themselves. When the prodigies saw Duan Ling Tian, they greeted him enthusiastically. "Brother Ling Tian, are you ready to enter the secret realm? Brother Ling Tian, please take care of me if we meet in the secret realm. Brother Ling Tian." These few prodigies were on par with Ao Long Yu and Tian Hu. Previously, they had no interactions with Duan Ling Tian at all. However, at this moment, all of them were trying to get acquainted with Duan Ling Tian. Their attitude changed completely after they witnessed his strength 3 months ago. Chapter 4391, 4391 Escape Plan. 4391 Escape Plan. Faced with the enthusiastic people in front of him, Duan Ling Tian responded with a smile and a nod. He had no enmity with these people. Since they took the initiative to greet him, he would not ignore them. At the same time, he also felt a little sad and emotional for them. If he successfully escaped, it would be fine. Otherwise, his outcome would be no different from theirs. Subsequently, Duan Ling Tian did not waste time and flew into the secret realm. "I'll have to depend on the divine tree of life, Sister Water, and the others." Although Duan Ling Tian also had a part to play in the escape plan, the main stars were the divine tree of life and the 5 divine elements. The divine tree of life had the most important role since their plan was to target the divine tree of life in the Crimson Demon's little world. Duan Ling Tian and the 5 divine elements would assist the divine tree of life in his body in his plan to escape from the Crimson Demon's little world under the nose of the Crimson Demon. When Duan Ling Tian was still an intermediate supreme god, the world-cleansing divine water told him that he only had a 50% chance of succeeding. Now that he became an advanced supreme god, his chances of success had increased greatly. However, he was not particularly joyful. After all, no matter how high the chances were, even if it were a 99% chance of success, there was still a chance of failure unless there was a 100% guarantee that he would succeed. "I'm in." After entering the secret realm, Duan Ling Tian found himself in the sky above the sea. The sea was boundless with no end in sight. Just like before, he had to determine the correct direction to the heart of the secret realm. The rules were the same every time the prodigies entered the secret realm. They would be sent to the periphery of a huge circle before they had to find their way to the center of the circle. Once they arrived at their destination, they would be able to leave the secret realm. Unlike the rules that remained the same, the environment in the secret realm would change every time. The prodigies would also be sent to a different place. For example, Duan Ling Tian was sent to a forest previously, but now he was above the sea. Duan Ling Tian hovered in the sky as he surveyed his surroundings to find the right direction to the heart of the secret realm. The sea was calm, and there was nothing out of the ordinary. "Sister Water, what do I need to do to cooperate with you and Senior Wood Spirit?" Duan Ling Tian consulted the world-cleansing divine water. "For now, you only need to find the direction to the heart of the secret realm and make your way there. While you go through the challenges, Wood Spirit will look for the divine tree of life in the Crimson Demon's little world. After Wood Spirit locates the tree, we'll channel our energy to Wood Spirit to help it temporarily control the Crimson Demon's divine tree of life. Under normal circumstances, Divine trees of life in the little worlds of supreme powerhouses are usually in a deep state of slumber. As such, Wood Spirit will have a chance to take control of it briefly. Needless to say, the stronger Wood Spirit is, the easier and faster it'll be for it to control the other party. Previously, the world-cleansing divine water did not reveal the details of the plan to Duan Ling Tian. As such, he only found out now that Wood Spirit planned to temporarily control the divine tree of life in the Crimson Demon's little world. If the plan succeeded, he would be able to leave the Crimson Demon's little world and possibly also escape the clutches of the Crimson Demon. Things would not have been so easy if the Crimson Demon's little world was placed in his body. Fortunately, the Crimson Demon's little world was now placed in the Crimson Demon Ridge. As such, if Wood Spirit managed to control his divine tree of life briefly, Duan Ling Tian would be able to escape his notice and leave. "Sister Water, please let me know if you need my help," Duan Ling Tian said, sounding anxious. It was only natural since his freedom and survival hinged on the success of this plan. He would either die or be possessed if he stayed here. Even without the threat of death, the Crimson Demon's little world was not optimal for cultivation. He had discovered this when he cultivated diligently over the past few decades. Duan Ling Tian could not help but feel anxious again when he thought about what would happen if their plan failed. If the Crimson Demon was alerted and he was discovered before he could escape, he would either be killed immediately or placed on close watch until the Crimson Demon decided on who to possess. Duan Ling took a deep breath to calm down before he focused on the job at hand. "I have to find the way to the heart of the secret realm." Previously, Duan Ling Tian found a clue in a tree that stood out from the rest in a forest. However, this time, after looking around for a while, he still could not find anything. The sea was calm and seemed to be devoid of life. "I'll try looking in the sea, perhaps. The clue that'll point me in the right direction is there." Duan Ling Tian continued to search for clues. 15 minutes passed, half an hour passed, but Duan Ling Tian still did not find anything. It was not until about 2 hours had passed when Duan Ling Tian finally found something with his divine consciousness in the sea. If he had not been concentrating, he would not have detected the slight fluctuations, which was an abnormality. This way, after confirming it, Duan Ling Tian flew in the direction the clue pointed him to. After flying for 15 minutes, Duan Ling Tian finally encountered the first test. Boom, 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 boom. A series of thunderous sounds rang in the air as the calm surface of the sea was disturbed. In just a moment, huge figures shot out of the sea. They were all terrifyingly powerful demons. These demons were in all kinds of shapes. Some resembled birds, some were like wild beasts, and some were like snakes. The only thing they had in common was their bloodthirsty red eyes and that they were all black and covered with sharp scales. Swoosh, 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 swoosh. About 20 demons stared at Duan Ling Tian after coming out of the sea. Without another word, they rushed toward him in a frenzy as though he was their archenemy. Duan Ling Tian had just brought his 7 orifices exquisite sword out and was prepared to strike when the world-cleansing divine water suddenly said, "There's no need for you to attack. Let Wood Spirit deal with them." Duan Ling Tian stopped moving as soon as the world-cleansing divine water. Then, in the next moment, he saw a shocking scene. Chapter 4392, 4392, you fool. 4392, you fool. Duan Ling Tian looked around, and soon enough, he saw another him appear. He was certain it was not his doppelganger due to their lack of connection. The other him fought fiercely with the huge demons that came out of the sea almost as soon as they appeared. Duan Ling Tian felt like he was watching a show on television when he watched the fight that was getting further and further away. Wood Spirit has begun to invade the Crimson Demon's divine tree of life. With our help, It's using the Crimson Demon's Tree of Life to confuse the Crimson Demon. Wood Spirit is doing this because it's worried that the Crimson Demon is monitoring you, which will hinder our plan. The world-cleansing divine water promptly explained. With this, Duan Ling Tian found out that this was also part of Wood Spirit's plan, and everything in front of him was conjured by Wood Spirit. Those big demons. Duan Ling Tian was still slightly puzzled when he thought about the huge demon's strength. If everything was an illusion, where did they go? The tests and challenges in the secret realm are all controlled by the Crimson Demon. To be precise, they're controlled by the Crimson Demon using his divine Tree of Life. Under normal circumstances, even if the divine Tree of Life is in a deep slumber, the Crimson Demon would still be able to use it to control everything in the secret realm. Needless to say, the divine Tree of Life is even more adept at controlling things here compared to its owner, the Crimson Demon. Wood Spirit briefly controlled the tree and used it to send the demons back into the sea. If the Crimson Demon is watching, he'd see the illusion Wood Spirit conjured through his divine Tree of Life. Then, the word cleansing divine water's voice turned serious as she continued to say, "Now, let's hurry up and get down to business. Follow my instructions and channel your energy into Wood Spirit so he'll have better control of the Crimson Demon's divine Tree of Life and help you escape from the Crimson Demon's little world. Hopefully, it'll be able to help you escape pursuit as well before the Crimson Demon realizes what happened." Duan Ling Tian's heart began to pound when he heard the world-cleansing divine water's words. Once the Crimson Demon was alerted, the Crimson Demon would definitely hunt him down. It was of great importance that he was able to escape the Crimson Demon's pursuit after leaving the Crimson Demon's little world as well. "All right, let's start." Duan Ling Tian put away his distracting thoughts and followed the world-cleansing divine water's instructions and channeled his energy to his divine Tree of Life in his little world. He could feel his divine Tree of Life releasing energy into the secret realm, but the energy disappeared quickly. It was as though the secret realm was a bottomless pit that could not be filled with the divine Tree of Life's energy. The world-cleansing divine water and Duan Ling Tian were only speculating that the Crimson Demon was keeping an eye on him. They were unaware that as soon he entered the secret realm, the Crimson Demon had been watching him. It only took a few glances at the others once in a while. He who was in the Crimson Demon Ridge could see everything in the secret realm through the divine Tree of Life in his little world. After watching Duan Ling Tian for a long time, the Crimson Demon felt that something was amiss. Logically, with Duan Ling Tian's strength, it shouldn't take him so long to pass the first test. What is he doing? The Crimson Demon watched as Duan Ling Tian fought on even ground with the group of huge demons. They were so evenly matched that it was difficult to tell who would emerge victorious. However, he quickly noticed that Duan Ling Tian was not going all out. Is he trying to use the demons to discover something? Perhaps he's not sure that he's going in the right direction, or perhaps he's trying to confirm if there are any other clues to gain from fighting these demons. The Crimson Demon nodded to himself when he thought about it, feeling at ease. He felt that his speculations made sense. After a moment, the Crimson Demon shifted his attention to the other prodigies. At this moment, not counting Duan Ling Tian, about a dozen prodigies, including Sun Jia Yao and Shangyuan Jun, had also entered the secret realm. Similar to Duan Ling Tian, they found themselves hovering in the sky above the sea as soon as they entered. Most of them had yet to find the clue, and only a few people managed to find something and began to make their way to their destination. Among the few who found something, 2 of them went in the wrong direction. The duo was among those who had greeted Duan Ling Tian earlier at the entrance of the secret realm. One of them barely passed the first test after going the wrong way. He was seriously injured after killing a huge number of demons. As such, during the second test, he was further injured before he was killed. "This isn't fair," the prodigy roared mournfully before he died, becoming the food in the belly of the demons. After he died, the other prodigy followed suit. The Crimson Demon watched everything indifferently. "This is how it should be. This time, I'll be able to choose the most suitable body for me. I hope Duan Ling Tian won't let me down." Until now, the Crimson Demon still favored Duan Ling Tian the most. For this reason, he paid special attention to Duan Ling Tian. If it were not for the requirements imposed by the ancestors of his clan, he would have directly chosen Duan Ling Tian to possess. After some time had passed, the sense that something was amiss grew stronger in the Crimson Demon. The other few surviving prodigies were already halfway to the heart of the secret realm and had passed half of the tests, but strangely, Duan Ling Tian was still fighting on even ground with the big demons from the first test. "What's going on? This isn't possible. What the hell is trying to do?" The Crimson Demon grew suspicious, and unlike before, he began to scrutinize Duan Ling Tian's every movement. In just a short moment, he discovered the problem. "It's an illusion." The Crimson Demon's expression changed drastically as he bellowed, "You fool!" The Crimson Demon's voice was so thunderous that everyone in the Crimson Demon Ridge, including his personal demon guards, centurions, and decurions, heard his voice. Their expressions changed immediately as they shuddered in fear. They could not help but wonder who the Crimson Demon was scolding. At the same time, they felt sorry for the person, knowing that the person was going to meet his demise soon. It was their first time seeing the Crimson Demon so angry after they became his puppet. Swoosh! A figure flew up in the Crimson Demon Ridge and shot out like a streak of light. Based on the tear in the void, it was clear how fast the figure was moving. Not long after, a voice burning with fury rang in the Crimson Demon's little world. "Who dares to take control of my divine tree of life while it slumbers? Damn it, don't even think of escaping." Chapter 4393, 4393, Escape 4393. Escape. Duan Ling Tian was now desperately moving forward at lightning speed. He did not hold back at all. Earlier, the divine tree of life in his little world finally found a chance to control the Crimson Demon's divine tree of life, to create an opening out of the Crimson Demon's little world. It managed to persist for a while after that before its energy in the Crimson Demon's divine tree of life dissipated. Duan Ling Tian knew that it was likely that the Crimson Demon had already been alerted. However, he had no time to worry at this moment, and could only focus on escaping as fast as he could. He flew out of the spatial tier and returned to the outer boundary. The Crimson Demon's little world was located outside of his body in the outer boundary. After returning to the outer boundary, Duan Ling Tian did not dare to stay where he was and quickly fled. Whether or not I can escape the Crimson Demon's pursuit depends on this critical moment. The only thought left in Duan Ling Tian's head now was to escape. For days, he continued to flee. When his divine energy was almost depleted, he would use divine pills to replenish it. He did not stop at all the entire time. Several days had passed, and the Crimson Demon had yet to catch up to him. It was likely impossible for the Crimson Demon to find him now, but he still did not dare to let his guard down, fearing that the slightest mistake would land him in the clutches of the Crimson Demon again. If he failed to escape this time and was caught, it was impossible for him to escape again. At that time, only two outcomes awaited him. He would be killed or possessed by the Crimson Demon. During the few days Duan Ling Tian spent fleeing, the Crimson Demon did not stay idle. He did not even stay to reprimand the divine tree of life in his little world. He only told the divine tree of life that Duan Ling Tian had escaped before he gave chase. Alas, the Crimson Demon did not find any trace of Duan Ling Tian at all. It was as though Duan Ling Tian's traces had been erased. Although the Crimson Demon was a supreme powerhouse and had an incredibly strong divine consciousness, he did not dare to recklessly extend his divine consciousness out in the outer boundary, fearing that he would provoke another supreme powerhouse. At that time, things would be bad for him. He was already injured from his last once-in-10,000-year heavenly tribulation and had yet to recover. He knew it would be almost impossible for him to survive his next heavenly tribulation. This was the reason he was so anxious to find a compatible body to possess. If he fought another supreme powerhouse at this time, it would only further injure him and affect his plan to possess a body. In the end, the Crimson Demon finally gave up on chasing Duan Ling Tian after a few days. He knew that, at this point, even if he continued, it was unlikely for him to find Duan Ling Tian. "You're really lucky." Duan Ling Tian had clearly been planning this for a long time. The Crimson Demon truly did not expect him to have such means. "I'm really curious about how he escaped." The Crimson Demon was so focused on chasing Duan Ling Tian that he did not even communicate with his divine tree of life. As such, he was privy to details of Duan Ling Tian's escape. After giving up on chasing Duan Ling Tian, the Crimson Demon returned to the place near the Crimson Demon Ridge where his little world was located. He quickly went into his little world and looked for his divine tree of life. "Shouldn't you give me a reasonable explanation for this matter?" the Crimson Demon asked, clearly angry. "I was sleeping and recuperating. When I came to my senses and found them, it was already too late," an elderly voice replied before launching into a coughing fit. In a place in the Crimson Demon's little world where the prodigies the Crimson Demon imprisoned could not access, stood an upright and majestic towering tree. If Duan Ling Tian had seen the towering tree, he would have felt that his divine tree of life looked insignificant in comparison. "I acted as soon as I woke up, but it was too late. I don't dare to use too much power in fear of affecting your possession plan." The owner of the elderly voice belonged to the Crimson Demon's divine tree of life. The vital energy of the divine tree of life was a little weak at this moment, as though it was greatly exhausted. There were even cracks on its trunk. If one looked closely, one would be able to see many scars on it. As the divine tree of life in the Crimson Demon's little world, it would naturally lend a hand when the Crimson Demon needed help dealing with enemies. However, the scars on its trunk did not come from the Crimson Demon's enemies. Instead, it was from the Crimson Demon's previous once-in-10,000-year heavenly tribulation. At that time, if it did not act in time and used its body to shield the Crimson Demon from the power of the heavenly tribulation, the Crimson Demon would have died. After hearing the divine tree of life's words and sensing its sluggish energy, the Crimson Demon's expression changed slightly. Then he heaved a long sigh and said, "Perhaps he's the legendary monster. I should be more careful." Based on the history of the myriad worlds, the more monstrously talented he is, the harder he is to kill, and the harder it'll be to possess him. I was careless as well. I can't blame you for this. You still need to recover and control my secret realm. You've had it tough," the elderly voice said. "Choose the one that suits you most among the remaining people. Your success depends on this step. My remaining energy and the burning of my body should be able to help you complete the body possession. I was born in your little world, and you're like a parent to me. I'm willing to give up everything for you." As the divine tree of life in the Crimson Demon's little world, it naturally had to contribute to the process of the Crimson Demon's body possession. Moreover, it played a very important part. Not only did it have to exhaust its energy, but it also had to burn its body to support the Crimson Demon when the Crimson Demon possessed a new body. After that, although it would not disappear, it would fall into a long and deep sleep due to the depletion of its energy. It would only have a chance to awaken again after the Crimson Demon successfully possessed a new body and became a supreme powerhouse again. Needless to say, if the Crimson Demon failed to possess his chosen body, it would die along with the Crimson Demon. Not every divine tree of life was able to survive the death of its master. Only divine trees of life that had absorbed the realm energy for a long time had a chance of surviving the deaths of their masters and being revived if they were lucky. An example of this was Wood Spirit, the divine tree of life in Duan Ling Tian's little world. In the past, Wood Spirit's master was also the master of one of the 18 realms of gods in the God-defying world. Not only that, but he was also among the leading supreme powerhouses in the God-defying world. As the divine tree of life of such a person, Wood Spirit had access to the God-defying world's realm energy to guard the God-defying world. As such, during its many years guarding the God-defying world, it was able to absorb a large amount of realm energy from the God-defying world. Apart from absorbing the realm energy, another reason the Wood Spirit was able to survive after the death of its master, until Duan Ling Tian found it was due to the world-cleansing divine water, one of the 5 divine elements, providing it with nutrition. However, if Duan Ling Tian did not find it in time, Wood Spirit would eventually perish as well. The nutrients provided by the world-cleansing divine wood would not be able to keep up with its speed of consumption, after all. Its speed of consumption had always been greater than the nutrients the world-cleansing divine spirit provided. It only managed to recover and grow stronger thanks to the 5 divine elements in Duan Ling Tian's body. Meanwhile, after the Crimson Demon heard the divine tree of life's words, he nodded. "All right, I'm going to increase the difficulty of the secret realm again. Only one of them will survive it. Duan Ling Tian better not run into me in the future. Even if I can't possess him anymore, I'll still kill him. How dare he go against me? Damn it." Duan Ling Tian was unaware that the Crimson Demon planned to kill him if they met again after the Crimson Demon successfully possessed a new body. However, even if he had known, not only would he not be afraid, but he would also look forward to meeting the Crimson Demon again. He wanted to pay the Crimson Demon back for imprisoning him and almost killing him. I should be safe now, right? After fleeing for a month, Duan Ling Tian finally stopped running for his life. Previously, it might have seemed as though he was escaping in random directions. However, in truth, he had taken great care to avoid places that were possibly territories of supreme powerhouses. He was deeply afraid of wandering into the territory of a supreme powerhouse after his experience in the Crimson Demon Ridge. It would be fine if the supreme powerhouse was easygoing. Otherwise, he would enter the lion's den again. I saw some dilapidated cities along the way. There were many humans and demons wandering in and out. Some of those demons kept their original appearance, and some of them took the form of humans. There are even some plant-like huge demons. Duan Ling Tian had seen many places while he was fleeing. He knew that there were also trading places in the outer boundary. Coincidentally, there's a city up ahead. I'll go and have a look and find out where this place is. Duan Ling Tian looked at the dilapidated city, not far ahead for a moment before he flew over. He could see many figures coming in and out of the city as he flew. Chapter 4394, 4394 Dancing Sun City 4394 Dancing Sun CITY, Letter 1 D627, Letter 1 D52F, Letter 1 D452, Letter 1 D486, Letter 1 D4CC, Letter 1 D626, Letter 1 D623, Letter 1 D4F7, Letter 1 D630. Cyrillic Letter 475, Letter 1 D452, Letter 1 D62D. Calm after entering the dilapidated city. No one paid any attention to Duan Ling Tian. After all, there were many young humans like him coming in and out of the city every day. It was difficult to tell a person's age if one did not probe with one's divine consciousness. Many of those who had lived for tens of thousands of years liked to maintain a youthful appearance after all. For this reason, no one judged a person's age or strength based on their appearance. Perhaps there were some young people who were truly easy targets, but there were many who were much older and more powerful than they seemed. If one provoked the wrong person, one would have to pay a hefty price. This place. When Duan Ling Tian walked in, he saw many people gathered in groups of twos and threes. Some people stood at the side and placed things in front of them, waiting for someone to ask for their prices. These people hoped to trade away treasures that were not useful to them for something useful. Unsurprisingly, those who dared to bring their treasures out here were all confident about their strength. They were also not foolish and would not bring out treasures that might attract people more powerful than themselves. After all, they would die in vain if they were killed because of a few treasures. There was no lack of robbers, and there was also no lack of robbers who would kill once they obtained what they wanted. While walking around, Duan Ling Tian saw a few things that were useful to him. However, after inquiring about them, he realized he did not have what was needed to exchange for those things. Needless to say, he could easily exchange for these things with the liquid from the divine fountain, which was highly valuable, but he knew he could not bring the liquid from the divine fountain out. After all, it was something that even supreme powerhouses coveted. He would definitely be in deep trouble if he brought the liquid from the divine fountain out even with his current strength. He was not afraid of anyone under the realm of supreme powerhouses, but what if a supreme powerhouse made a move? Thinking about supreme powerhouses inadvertently made Duan Ling Tian think of the Crimson Demon, causing him to shudder and feel powerless. Supreme powerhouses are too strong, it's impossible for those below the realm of supreme powerhouses to compete with them. Duan Ling Tian also suddenly thought about his reason for leaving the God-defying world for the outer boundary which led to Yun Qing Yan, who had merged with a supreme powerhouse. If the other party appeared in front of him at this moment, there was nothing he could do to the other party at all. Although Duan Ling Tian could not use the liquid from the divine fountain to trade, fortunately, he could still use his divine pills. In the end, he managed to exchange for a few things that would help him stabilize his cultivation base. Now that he had become an advanced supreme god, the next thing he needed to do was stabilize his cultivation base. Duan Ling Tian continued to wander the city after exchanging for a few items. He noticed that none of the buildings there were intact and inhabited. The people in the city were just passers-by who came to trade. According to the supreme powerhouse of the Xia clan, not all cities are dilapidated in the outer boundary. Many of the intact cities with a large number of inhabitants are controlled by powerful forces. It seems like this city I'm in should be in a remote part of the outer boundary. As Duan Ling Tian wandered the city, he saw many other things that he wanted and tried to exchange for them. As time passed, he discovered that many people were staring at him. Some of them did not even bother to hide the greedy expressions on their faces or their intention to rob him. Duan Ling Tian did not care about those people at all. After all, not counting the supreme powerhouses, there were only a few advanced supreme gods whom he was afraid of. As such, he was not afraid of those advanced supreme gods who were staring at him covetously. It's best if none of you fight with me. If you go looking for trouble, you can only blame yourselves for being unlucky. After exchanging for a few more things, Duan Ling Tian finally left the dilapidated city. After he stepped out of the city, he discovered about a dozen people tailing him in groups. He flew a distance away before he finally turned to look at the people indifferently. Upon seeing this, the group of people was surprised that Duan Ling Tian, who knew he was being targeted, did not flee after he discovered them. They wondered if he was going to obediently bring his things out, giving up resistance. Duan Ling Tian's cold gaze swept past the dozen or so people as he said slowly in a menacing voice, "If anyone continues to follow me, I'll kill them." Upon hearing these words, most of the people who tailed Duan Ling Tian laughed. He's just entered the realm of advanced supreme gods, but he's so arrogant. He probably doesn't know that we're aware of his cultivation. Duan Ling Tian did not pay attention to the ridicule. Instead, he turned around and continued on his way. Those people did not heed his advice and continued to follow him. With this, Duan Ling Tian paused briefly before he suddenly teleported into the midst of those people. When he reappeared, the 7 orifices exquisite sword was already in his hand, and a 7-colored sword ray shot out. Even without the help from the divine tree of life and the 5 divine elements, Duan Ling Tian's attack, which he had combined with his law of space and his fierce sword Dao, stirred up a violent spatial storm and instantly killed 3 of the people standing closest to him before they even had time to react. Needless to say, the others were shocked by Duan Ling Tian's attack. At this moment, they finally realized that Duan Ling Tian's earlier words were not a bluff. He clearly had the ability to back up his threats. They were just ordinary advanced supreme gods. Even if they had stabilized their cultivation base, their strength was limited. They were no match for the stronger advanced supreme gods, let alone Duan Ling Tian, who was a top advanced supreme god. Run! We're no match for him. Heavens! How's it possible for an advanced supreme god who has yet to stabilize his cultivation base to be so strong? These people were not stupid. They all prepared to flee in different directions. At this moment, 2 figures shot out of Duan Ling Tian's body. They were his doppelgangers from the law of space and the law of time. The 3 of them split up in 3 directions and killed everyone in 10 breaths. After killing the dozen or so people who followed him, Duan Ling Tian looked at the distance for a moment before he finally turned to leave. Not long after Duan Ling Tian left, more than a dozen people came out of a forest in the distance. All of them wore fearful expressions on their faces at this moment. Fortunately, we weren't reckless and didn't get too close, otherwise we would have perished along with those people. He's terrifyingly strong, and he's yet to stabilize his cultivation base. He must have an extraordinary background. No wonder he has so many divine pills. Duan Ling Tian was naturally aware of these people's presence. However, since they didn't follow him too closely, he did not care about them. After his display of strength earlier, no one followed him anymore. I'll go to Dancing Sun City now to ask about Wang Yiyuan's clan. I'll try to repay the favor by fulfilling his final wish. Wang Yiyuan was the prodigy whom Duan Ling Tian met in the Crimson Demon's little world. Although Wang Yiyuan was strong, he had unfortunately died in the Crimson Demon's little world. Before he died, he had given Duan Ling Tian his spatial ring that contained a spherical object, which turned out to be a key to an independent realm left behind by a powerful supreme powerhouse. Duan Ling Tian learned that Dancing Sun City was the closest intact city earlier when he was exchanging for things in the dilapidated city. He also learned that Dancing Sun City was peaceful and prosperous and was controlled by 5 major forces. Each of the 5 forces was commanded by a supreme powerhouse. Chapter 4395, 4395, that person from Kaiming Mountain. 4395, that person from Kaiming Mountain. Forces from all realms in the myriad worlds gathered in the outer boundary. In the beginning, no one knew if the outer boundary was inhabited. What was known was that many people from myriad worlds settled in the outer boundary and started families after leaving their respective homelands. For this reason, many natives of the outer boundary were descendants of those from the myriad worlds. However, due to their long history, some of them only knew their ancestors came from the myriad worlds and did not know the details. Even supreme powerhouses from the myriad worlds did not dare to be careless in the outer boundary like they might be in their respective worlds. After all, there might be supreme powerhouses who were natives of the outer boundary, who were more powerful. Long before Duan Ling Tian went to the outer boundary, when he was still in the Xia clan in the divine offering land, he had heard from the ancestor of the Xia clan that the outer boundary was a complicated place. As such, he had mentally prepared for himself. According to the ancestor of the Xia clan, even the most powerful beings in the three strongest worlds did not act rampantly in the outer boundary. When the ancestor of the Xia clan was in the outer boundary, he had heard rumors about the hidden powerhouses in the outer boundary. It was said that two powerhouses from the outer boundary fought against and successfully fended off two of the strongest powerhouses in the myriad worlds. There were also rumors that there was only one hidden powerhouse from the outer boundary who fought against two of the strongest powerhouses in the myriad world. In any case, everyone knew that the natives of the outer boundary were not to be underestimated. Dancing Sun City, which was Duan Ling Tian's current destination, was controlled by 5 major forces native to the outer boundary. The rules there were created and enforced by the 5 major forces. They could be considered the masters of Dancing Sun City. After many days, is Dancing Sun City. Duan Ling Tian, who had been traveling at high speed for quite a while, saw a huge city surrounded by tall city walls in a long mountain range. The city was a mountain city, and half of it was in the mountains. The area of the city in the mountains was closed to most people. No one was allowed to approach it without good reason. This was because this place was where those from the 5 major forces stayed, and it was known as the inner city of Dancing Sun City. In the inner city, there were trading places and training fields for sparring. They were all shared by the 5 major forces. The trading places were the internal trading market for the 5 major forces. On the contrary, everyone was free to enter the outer city. It did not matter where one came from. One would not be denied entry into the outer city. Needless to say, those in the outer city would have to abide by the rules of Dancing Sun City. Otherwise, one would be dealt with by the law enforcement team in the city. The law enforcement team in Dancing Sun City consisted of members from the 5 major forces. The team leader and the members were powerful and could easily deal with 99% of those under the realm of supreme powerhouses. If they encountered someone they were unable to deal with, a letter would be sent to the inner city, and a supreme powerhouse would come to their aid. For this reason, there was little crime in the city. After entering the city, Duan Ling Tian felt that the city was rather orderly and peaceful. The people in the city were polite. Some of them would take the initiative to give way when traveling on a narrow road. After walking around for a while, Duan Ling Tian still did not see anyone from the law enforcement team. I heard that law enforcement teams in places like Dancing Sun City don't usually patrol in the open. They stay hidden until something happens, Duan Ling Tian thought to himself. Dancing Sun City, including the inner city, was a rather big city. It was not inferior to the cities Duan Ling Tian had seen in the God-defying world. When Duan Ling Tian flew into the sky and looked down, he discovered that the inner city was shrouded in smoke, blocking his sight. He could only see a faint outline of the city walls in the inner city. It was not hard for him to guess that the 5 major forces must have used formations to keep the inner city hidden from view. After all, even in the God-defying world, powerful forces in the city would employ such methods as well. Unlike some cities where flying was prohibited, there was no rule like that in Dancing Sun City. As long as one did not harbor malicious intentions, one would not be stopped from flying. Needless to say, if one flew into the sky of the inner city and caused trouble, the law enforcement team would definitely take action. Apart from gathering more information about the outer boundary, I'll ask around about the whereabouts of Wang Yiyuan's clan. If I'm able to find out his clan's whereabouts, I'll head over there and complete the task he entrusted me with. With my current strength, it shouldn't be difficult for me to fulfill his final wish. This was Duan Ling Tian's reason for coming to Dancing Sun City. He had learned a little about the outer boundary before he left the God-defying world. There were still many things in the outer boundary for him to learn. Initially, Duan Ling Tian did not intend to stay long in Dancing Sun City. However, plans often did not go according to one's wishes. After staying in the city for a few days to learn about the outer boundary and the whereabouts of Wang Yiyuan's clan, Duan Ling Tian was prepared to leave the next day. Unfortunately, something happened the night before he planned to leave, alarming him. Duan Ling Tian, who was staying in a nice inn owned by one of the 5 major forces in Dancing Sun City, was sitting cross-legged in his room when he suddenly heard a thunderous sound followed by a huge commotion in the distance. Duan Ling Tian did not waste time and left his room to have a look. As soon as he walked out, he heard the conversations in his surroundings. I heard that a supreme demon, a supreme powerhouse led demons to attack Dancing Sun City. This is bad. Dancing Sun City is surrounded. Why are you so anxious? So what if a supreme demon came? Dancing Sun City is protected by 5 supreme powerhouses. Even if the supreme demon doesn't die, he or she will be grievously injured. The one who came seems to be that person from Kai Ming Mountain. What? Are you sure that person is from Kai Ming Mountain? Heavens! How did Dancing Sun City provoke that person? Duan Ling Tian sighed after listening to the conversations in his surroundings. His expression was a little dark when he lamented his luck. Soon after he arrived in the outer boundary, he encountered one trouble after another. When he first arrived, he had to fight demons in the sea immediately. Following that, he accidentally wandered into the Crimson Demon Ridge after leaving the sea. As a result, he was imprisoned by the Crimson Demon. After he narrowly escaped the Crimson Demon, he came to the relatively peaceful Dancing Sun City, but who knew he would encounter a supreme demon attacking Dancing Sun City? Duan Ling Tian knew that supreme demon referred to a supreme powerhouse who was a demon. It's just a supreme demon, right? There are 5 supreme powerhouses in Dancing Sun City. Why are they afraid of one supreme demon? It's clear that they don't think the 5 supreme powerhouses are able to fend off that supreme demon. Duan Ling Tian wondered inwardly with a puzzled expression on his face. Letter 1 D487, R letter 1 D626, E letter 1 D638, letter 1 D486, letter 1 D68B, letter 1 D427, O letter 1 D637, letter 1 D626, letter 1 D62D. Com Chapter 4396, 4396, The Supreme Powerhouses of Dancing Sun City. 4396, The Supreme Powerhouses of Dancing Sun City. Duan Ling Tian was naturally aware that even supreme powerhouses possessed varied levels of strength. Based on the conversations in the surroundings, it seemed like the supreme demon from Kai Ming Mountain was much stronger than the 5 supreme powerhouses of the 5 major forces in Dancing Sun City. Even if the 5 supreme powerhouses join forces, they aren't a match for that supreme demon. How powerful is that person exactly to be unafraid of 5 supreme powerhouses? Duan Ling Tian wondered inwardly as his expression turned grim. Duan Ling Tian was still mulling over this discovery when the thunderous roars of demons accompanied by the sounds of buildings collapsing pulled him back to his senses. He could tell that the sound was drawing closer and closer. The people around Duan Ling Tian flew into the air one after another and fled in different directions. Run! The huge demons from Kai Ming Mountain are here. Run! Boom! A loud explosion rang in the air before a huge ape-like demon appeared above the inn. He had a huge body seemed to cover the sky. When one of his feet landed, he directly stepped on two people to death. Then, a terrifying energy swept out toward the duo, causing them to explode into blood mists. Humans are too weak. After killing the two people, the giant ape stepped on the courtyard at the side of the inn before he punched twice. The terrifying force from the punches killed those who fled one after another. Fortunately, those who were stronger managed to escape. Meanwhile, isn't this just an ordinary demon from Kaiming Mountain? Duan Ling Tian looked at the giant ape in front of him with a calm expression, but inwardly his heart was in turmoil. Although the giant ape was not as strong as the huge sea demon he encountered when he first came to the outer boundary, he was not much weaker than the huge sea demon. Most importantly, the giant ape was just one of many huge demons in the troops that the supreme demon led to Kaiming Mountain. In the eyes of the giant ape, the humans in front of it were all prey. He rather enjoyed the thrill of chasing after its fleeing prey. He was puzzled when he saw a human standing in the inn motionlessly. Is he scared witless? The giant ape thought. In any case, this pretty boy is really an eyesore. The human standing in the inn was none other than Duan Ling Tian. He did not bother to flee at all since the giant ape in front of him, which was an advanced supreme god, was no match for him. I can kill this pretty boy with just a punch, the giant ape thought as he threw out a punch toward Duan Ling Tian. At the same time, lightning flashed around him, indicating that he comprehended the law of thunder. It did not take long before a phenomenon that shone for 1,000 miles shone weakly in the sky. In the outer boundary, the phenomenon of the law that shone for 1,000 miles was equivalent to the phenomenon of the law that shone for 1,000,000 miles on the realm battlefield of the god-defying world. Even among advanced supreme gods, this level of comprehension was considered not bad. Duan Ling Tian did not try to avoid the giant ape's punch. Instead, he waved his hand, mobilizing the law of space. The law of space easily deflected the force of the giant ape's attack. During the entire process, he remained calm. This human is very strong. At this time, the giant ape's eyes widened in disbelief, and his heart trembled. He no longer dared to be careless. Blood chi began to rise from his body as he cast his bloodline power. The blood chi merged with the energy from the law of thunder, turning the lightning bolts blood red. Following that, he charged toward Duan Ling Tian with a solemn expression on his face. Although the giant ape attacked without holding back this time, Duan Ling Tian easily sent him flying with a wave of his hand. Boom! A loud explosion sounded as the giant ape landed at the corner of the inn, easily crushing the walls. Duan Ling Tian teleported closer to the giant ape with a sword in his hand that had been imbued with his divine energy. He pointed the sword at the giant ape's glabella as he said indifferently, "You're no match for me." Duan Ling Tian had no intention of killing the giant ape. In fact, he had taken care not to injure the giant ape too seriously. After all, if he killed the giant ape, who knew if it would attract a group of huge demons over? Although he might be stronger than them, the demons had numbers on their side. Most importantly, at that time, the commotion might catch the attention of the supreme demon from Kaiming Mountain. He would definitely die if he was targeted by a supreme powerhouse. The giant ape struggled to rise to its feet. He looked at the handsome young man in front of him in confusion as he asked, "Human, why didn't you kill me?" At the same time, the giant ape found Duan Ling Tian more pleasing to the eye than before. Duan Ling Tian ignored the giant ape's question. He flew into the distance in just a blink of an eye and extended his divine consciousness. He could sense a few huge demons heading in the inn's direction, as though they could sense the giant ape's predicament. As Duan Ling Tian fled, he thought, "It seems like the giant ape is well liked by its companions. In such a short time, a few of them are already rushing over to aid him." After leaving the inn, Duan Ling Tian wandered stealthily among the humans and demons fighting in the city. Occasionally, Some huge demons would attack him, but he easily avoided them. With his strength now, as long as he did not encounter the supreme demon of Kaiming Mountain, he would be able to protect himself from the other demons of Kaiming Mountain. That human is incredibly powerful. At this time, Duan Ling Tian was unaware that he had been targeted by a few of the stronger demons. 3 demons hovered in the sky. One resembled a beast, the other resembled a bird, and the third one had scales. All of them were staring at Duan Ling Tian at this moment. The demon that spoke first was the one that resembled a beast. His body was like a small mountain, and he looked like a cross between a tiger and a leopard, but his head was that of a deer, and he possessed 3 antlers. If those who were familiar with Kaiming Mountain were here at this time, they would have turned pale in fright when they saw the 3 huge demons. These 3 demons were only second to the supreme demon of Kaiming Mountain, and were among the strongest advanced supreme gods. Ta Yu, your adoptive son, was almost killed by him earlier. It's a wonder to me that you're still able to remain calm, the bird-like demon said with a chuckle. He looked gleeful as he added fuel to fire. The scaled demon laughed before he said, Ta Yu knows that the human didn't have any intention of killing him. Otherwise, Ta Yu wouldn't sit still. Then, it added, that human is indeed powerful. If we don't use the prime divine artifacts bestowed by our Lord, I'm afraid we won't be a match for him. Such a strong human, is he from one of the 5 major forces? I don't think so. If he's from one of the 5 major forces, he would have gone to the inner city. Why did he run in the opposite direction? At this time, Duan Ling Tian was moving in the opposite direction of the inner city. He did not want to stay a moment longer in Dancing Sun City. He knew that even if he did not offend Kaiming Mountain, and even spared the giant ape's life, there was no guarantee the supreme demon would let him leave if he encountered the supreme demon. He was naturally not afraid of the other demons. While Duan Ling Tian drew closer and closer to the city wall, avoiding many demons along the way, Supreme Demon Kaiming, are you really going to provoke the 5 of us? A thunderous and furious voice rang from the inner city of Dancing Sun City. The voice echoed loudly in all corners of Dancing Sun City. Chapter 4397, 4397, another choice, 4397, another choice. After the voice rang from the inner city of Dancing Sun City, before Duan Ling Tian regained his senses, he heard a loud scoff before another voice said, Zhang Yuanju, do you have brain regression? How can you ask such a stupid question? Today, I, Kaiming, am not only going to provoke all of you, but also destroy the 5 major forces. Following that, Duan Ling Tian, who had just arrived near the city wall, saw terrifying beams of light shooting down from the sky. They were like pillars that imprisoned the entire Dancing Sun City. Duan Ling Tian looked at the beams of light that easily destroyed the city walls, and his heart skipped a beat. At the same time, he heard the world-cleansing divine water's solemn warning from his little world. Little Tian, this supreme powerhouse has sealed off the entire city. This means his power covers the entire city now. Don't act rashly. If you attack the light beams, there will be consequences. You haven't comprehended your laws to the perfect form, so you'll die from the backlash. Also, your sword Dao is strong, so it'll only attract a greater backlash. Duan Ling Tian did not close his little world, and left a small opening so the world-cleansing divine water could monitor the situation in the outside world. This was to prevent him from wandering into dangerous places. If he had let the world-cleansing divine water monitor the situation as soon as he arrived in the outer boundary, he would not have wandered so deep into Crimson Demon Ridge. When the divine tree of life and the 5 divine elements helped Duan Ling Tian escape from the Crimson Demon's little world, they had exhausted almost all of their energies. However, because Duan Ling Tian needed the world-cleansing divine water, the other four divine elements bore more of the burden during the escape. As such, the other four divine elements had now fallen into a deep sleep, while the world-cleansing divine water stayed awake, because her energy consumption was not very high. "Then what should I do now?" Duan Ling Tian asked. His heart raced in his chest, and he could not help but feel nervous. This was a battle between supreme powerhouses. He would die if they destroyed the city. "You can't force your way out of the city," the world-cleansing divine water said solemnly. "It's best if you stay in the midst of the demons from Kaiming Mountain. When the supreme demon fights the five supreme powerhouses, it's likely that he'll take the demon's safety into consideration. Similarly, the five supreme powerhouses will also consider their descendants' safety when they fight, but I have a feeling that Kaiming Mountain will win this battle. If you choose to stay with the humans, I'm afraid you'll die when the five major forces are defeated." Duan Ling Tian frowned when he heard the world-cleansing divine water's words. Another choice. I have to make another choice again. Since Duan Ling Tian came to the outer boundary, he had been making choices regarding his life and death. In fact, he was not weak now even in the outer boundary. It was difficult to find anyone below the realm of supreme powerhouses who was on par with him, unless the other party was an advanced supreme god who had comprehended the law to the paramount stage. "Sister Water, you said that I should be with the demons from Kaiming Mountain, but I'm human after all. How am I going to follow them without arousing any conflict?" Duan Ling Tian asked. "There's no need to be afraid of conflict," the world-cleansing divine water said indifferently. "Just follow the group of huge demons. If they attack you, you can just defend yourself. With your current strength, do you think they have the ability to kill you? In my opinion, you should follow the giant ape you defeated earlier. You spared his life after all. With his tribe's character, he won't repay kindness with revenge." Based on the world-cleansing divine water, it was obvious that she recognized the giant ape's tribe. "Sister Water, why do you think the five major forces of Dancing Sun City will lose? It seems like you have a low opinion of the five supreme powerhouses," Duan Ling Tian asked with a slight frown. He felt that it was too risky and reckless to entrust his life to the demons. The world-cleansing divine water replied, "It's not like that. However, since the supreme demon from Kaiming Mountain dared to provoke them, it shows that he's confident, and I'm sure he has also considered the five supreme powerhouses, hidden trump cards as well. As such, what I proposed to you was what I thought was the safest choice. If you stay close to the humans, do you think the supreme demon will spare you, a human, once he destroyed the five major forces? On the contrary, if the humans win, you just need to kill a few huge demons. Not only will they be impressed, but they might invite you to join their respective forces. After all, even among the five major forces, they only have a few advanced supreme gods on par with you." Realization dawned on Duan Ling Tian after he listened to the world-cleansing divine water's explanation. Once again, he was reminded that the world-cleansing divine water had his best interest in mind, and that the choice she gave him was also the safest choice. Swoosh! Duan Ling Tian moved at lightning speed around Dancing Sun City. The city was now in ruins. The originally bustling streets and buildings were all destroyed. It felt like the end was nigh. Blood stained the ground everywhere, flowing like rivers. Many people who were still fleeing were eventually killed by the huge demons, and there were also quite a few who were battling the huge demons. There were members of the five major forces staying in the outer city of Dancing Sun City as well. However, they had all returned to the inner city when the battle started. These people included the law enforcement team of Dancing Sun City. It was easy for them to maintain order and peace in Dancing Sun City, because most of the people they dealt with were weaker than them, and they also had the five major forces backing them. However, their opponents now were demons led by the powerful supreme demon from Kaiming Mountain. They were simply no match for the demons. Moreover, they had also been summoned by their respective forces to return to the inner city to avoid unnecessary trouble. As for the others in the outer city, the 5 major forces had already given up on them. Found you. It did not take long for Duan Ling Tian to find the giant ape he defeated at the inn earlier. At this moment, the giant was not alone. He was with another 2 demons. One was a bird-like demon with golden feathers, while the other one resembled a bat with green and blood-red lines on his body, making him look sinister. Swoosh! Duan Ling Tian teleported near the giant ape and the 2 huge demons. At this time, the 3 demons were destroying a tall building and killing those who tried to flee. Many begged for mercy, but the trio turned a deaf ear to their pleas. Corpses piled up into mountains while mournful cries rang in the air. Suddenly, it's you. The giant ape finally noticed Duan Ling Tian. His eyes widened, and his body trembled slightly as he stumbled a few steps back, looking frightened. The other 2 huge demons heard the giant ape, and they gave up on chasing the people who tried to flee. Their eyes shifted to Duan Ling Tian in unison. The giant ape looked at Duan Ling Tian fearfully and asked, "What do you want?" Chapter 4398, 4398, Kai Ming avenges his son. 4398, Kai Ming avenges his son. The giant ape had no ill feelings toward the human in front of him. After all, the other party had the strength to kill him but had spared his life. Although demons and humans were on different sides, he did not forget the other party's grace. His tribe was upright in nature and disdained employing tricks. At this time, when he saw the other party, his first thought was that the other party regretted his decision and came back to kill him. Duan Ling Tian smiled as he looked at the vigilant giant ape. He replied, "Nothing. Since the battle between the supreme powerhouses is about to begin, I'm looking for someone to watch the fight and chat with. I just arrived in Dancing Sun City not too long ago, so I don't know anyone." "That's all." The giant ape frowned, clearly skeptical. His adoptive father had told him repeatedly that humans were cunning. Before Duan Ling Tian could respond, one of the 2 demons next to the giant ape, who were glaring at Duan Ling Tian, asked, "Ta Meng Sha, do you know this human?" The giant ape looked at Duan Ling Tian and replied to his companions in a deep voice, "He's the human who defeated me earlier." As soon as the giant ape's words fell, the 2 winged demons' gazes turned slightly fearful. After all, their strength was on par with that of Ta Meng Sha, the giant ape. "So it's him. Letter 192, letter 1D45F, letter 1D41E, EWE, letter 1D68B, letter 1D45B, letter FF4F, letter 1D66B, letter 1D68TL. Calm. After a moment, the bat-like demon looked at Duan Ling Tian meaningfully and said, "Human, you spared Ta Meng Sha's life earlier, so we owe you a favor. We'll repay you for your grace of sparing his life. However, I'm sure you came to him not because you want to watch the battle, right? You're hoping to use him to stay safe, am I right? I'm quite sure you're not from one of the 5 major forces. If I'm not mistaken, whether our Lord Supreme Demon or the 5 supreme powerhouses of Dancing Sun City win, you've determined that the safest place for you to be is with Ta Meng Sha. That's why you came to Ta Meng Sha." Duan Ling Tian tried to maintain his composure. He was slightly taken aback by the accuracy of the other party's analysis. He did not expect the somewhat scary-looking bat-like demon to be so smart and perceptive. Unlike the smart bat-like demon, Ta Meng Sha and the other winged demon looked at the bat-like demon with a mix of confusion and curiosity. "What do you mean?" The bat-like demon calmly explained. "This human came to Ta Meng Sha because he hopes to take advantage of his grace of sparing Ta Meng Sha's life. He wants to survive the disaster that's about to befall Dancing Sun City by using Ta Meng Sha. He doesn't know if our Lord or the 5 supreme powerhouses of Dancing Sun City will win the battle, but he has determined that if he stays with us demons, no matter who wins, he'll be able to survive. Realization finally dawned on Ta Meng Sha and the bird-like demon. Humans are really cunning, Ta Meng Sha said as he turned to look at Duan Ling Tian again. This time, his gaze carried a hint of disapproval. Duan Ling Tian shook his head as he looked at the bat-like demon and said, "I really didn't expect you to see through my intentions so quickly. After all, I thought demons were all simple-minded. I didn't expect to meet such a smart demon like you." Duan Ling Tian did not deny or hide his intentions. It was useless to lie. It was better to be frank. He just wanted to survive after all, and he bore no ill intentions. Ta Meng Sha said to Duan Ling Tian in a deep voice, "Human, I can cooperate with you in this matter. However, after this we're even, and I, Ta Meng Sha, no longer owe you." Unlike the bat-like demon, Ta Meng Sha was very simple. Even his speech was direct without any unnecessary words. "Of course," Duan Ling Tian said with a smile. He had been waiting for these words. After reaching a consensus, Duan Ling Tian followed the three demons. At the same time, the three demons also no longer hunted and killed the humans in Dancing Sun City. Instead, the four of them found a place and looked at the sky. At this time, a 3-meter-tall, sturdy and masculine figure dressed in a gray robe stood in the sky above Dancing Sun City. His jaw was chiseled as though it had been carved by a knife. He looked very determined at this moment as he stared at the inner city of Dancing Sun City. Behind the gray-clad sturdy figure stood three huge demons, a beast-like demon, a bird-like demon, and a scaled demon. Duan Ling Tian wondered inwardly, those three demons, are they the three demons second only to the supreme demon of Kai Ming Mountain? Duan Ling Tian naturally knew nothing about Kai Ming Mountain. He had never heard of Kai Ming Mountain until today. Everything he knew about it was gleaned from the conversations he had overheard from his surroundings earlier. He had heard that there were three demons under the command of the supreme demon of Kai Ming Mountain. The trio was among the strongest advanced supreme gods and had comprehended their respective laws to the perfect form. This meant that they were able to manifest the phenomenon of the law that shone for 100,000 miles in the outer boundary. If they were on the God-defying world's realm battlefield, they would manifest the phenomenon that shone for 100 million miles that would cover almost half of the realm battlefield. At this moment, a voice said indifferently, "Kai Ming, I spared your life back then. I didn't expect you to come back and provoke me. Today, the five of us will join forces and mete out justice on behalf of heaven. We'll kill you today in Dancing Sun City." Following that, Duan Ling Tian saw 5 illusory figures appear before they began to solidify into person in the sky above the inner city of Dancing Sun City. In just a blink of an eye, the 5 figures suddenly vanished into thin air, and a thunderous commotion rang in the air. Duan Ling Tian was shocked by their speed. Boom! Subsequently, a terrifying wave of energy swept down from the sky, crushing the buildings in the outer city of Dancing Sun City. On the contrary, the buildings in the inner city remained intact thanks to the guarding formations of the 5 major forces. Even then, when the wave of energy swept out, one could see the formations flashing brightly before they dimmed. Clearly, the formations were badly damaged. Kai Ming's voice echoed in Dancing Sun City as he said coldly, "You spared my life back then. Back then, I didn't offend or provoke the 5 of you or any of your descendants. However, all of you, for your own selfish desires, killed my son so you could take his heart and blood to refine a divine pill that could help your descendants be reborn. You should know very well whether you spared my life back then, or you were unable to kill me back then. Today, not only will I kill all of you, but I'll also kill your so-called prodigious descendants who were reborn using my son's life. After that, I'll destroy all your forces so they'll cease to exist in the outer boundary." Kai Ming's voice turned frostier and frostier as he spoke. Meanwhile, Duan Ling Tian's heart shook slightly upon hearing the reason Kai Ming attacked Dancing Sun City. As it turned out, Kai Ming came to avenge his son. In order to cultivate prodigious disciples, the 5 major forces of Dancing Sun City joined forces to kill Kai Ming's son and took his heart and blood. Not all humans are good, and not all demons are bad. Feng Qing Yang's words echoed in Duan Ling Tian's mind at this moment. His master had said this to him in the past. In fact, even before he met his master, when he was in the mundane realm, he had already felt this way. Chapter 4399, 4399 Supreme Demon Kai Ming's Trump Card 4399, Supreme Demon Kai Ming's Trump Card, what? The old ancestor looked for trouble with Supreme Demon Kai Ming first. They killed his son for his heart and blood to cultivate their descendants into prodigies. It makes sense now why Supreme Demon Kai Ming attacked our Dancing Sun City. After waiting for so many years, Supreme Demon Kai Ming must be confident about avenging his son now. The members of the 5 major forces were shocked by this revelation. They were unaware that their respective supreme powerhouses had done such a thing in the past. They were naturally furious since they now had to bear the consequences even though they were innocent. Alas, as ordinary members, there was nothing they could do. It seemed like an impossible feat to eradicate all 5 major forces in Dancing Sun City, but they were worried about Kai Ming's confidence. Kai Ming, your strength might have improved, but it's still impossible for you to defeat the 5 of us. This is your last chance to retreat. We'll forget what happened today if you leave now. Another supreme powerhouse from Dancing Sun City said. He was loud and arrogant when he spoke. The clouds dispersed due to the shockwave, revealing a tall and burly figure standing across from the 5 supreme powerhouses of Dancing Sun City. The 5 supreme powerhouses were an old man, a middle-aged man, a young man, a beautiful woman, and an old woman. As the dust settled in the city, Duan Ling Tian and the 3 demons looked at the ruined city. Corpses were strewn everywhere, and only a few survivors could be seen slowly crawling out of the rubble. Duan Ling Tian was the only human who remained completely unscathed because of his proximity to the 3 demons. The 3 demons might not be the most powerful among the troops of demons from Kai Ming Mountain, but they had powerful backgrounds. The giant ape, Ta Ming Sha, was the adoptive son of one of the 3 strongest demons under Kai Ming's command. Even demons stronger than Ta Ming Sha did not dare to offend him. As such, the other demons did not dare to attack Duan Ling Tian at all. This is the destructive power of a supreme powerhouse. Duan Ling Tian surveyed the ruins of the city with a hint of fear in his eyes. Blood flowed like rivers in the outer city of Dancing Sun City, and the city walls, except for those within the cage formed by the beams of light, had long collapsed. The destruction would be worse if Supreme Demon Kai Ming didn't cast a protective barrier to protect this part of Dancing Sun City. Moreover, the 5 supreme powerhouses had most certainly held back earlier when they made a move. After all, their descendants and members of their forces are in the city. They definitely won't act recklessly, worried that the shockwaves would affect the others. Many thoughts raced through Duan Ling Tian's mind at this moment. This was his first time watching a battle between supreme powerhouses, after all. It dawned on him again how terrifying supreme powerhouses were. As hard as Duan Ling Tian tried, he could hardly catch the movements of the 6 supreme powerhouses. Their movements were too fast for him. Duan Ling Tian looked at Kai Ming suddenly. He could sense that Kai Ming's energy was unstable compared to the other 5 supreme powerhouses. It seems like Kai Ming was at a disadvantageous position during their previous exchange. As soon as this thought appeared in Duan Ling Tian's mind, he heard a cold snort. Ha! The 5 of them think that our Lord came alone. How silly, the bat-like demon said. Duan Ling Tian's eyes widened upon hearing these words. Did Supreme Demon Kai Ming bring help? What a kind offer. However, I think you're just afraid that if I continue, you'll all be injured. I have to admit, all of you have gotten slightly stronger compared to the past, Kai Ming said. The five Supreme Powerhouses' expressions darkened immediately when they heard his words. After exchanging blows, they discovered that Kai Ming's improvements surpassed theirs. It seemed like at least three of them would have to join forces to be on par with Kai Ming. If the five of them joined forces, they would likely be able to take him down, but it would be a tough battle. They would definitely be injured in the process, and there was also a possibility that one or two of them might die in the battle. They were naturally reluctant to suffer injuries, fearing that it would affect the chances of them surviving their next heavenly tribulation that came once every 10,000 years. At this time, Kai Ming suddenly cupped his fists together and said, "Brother Han Wang, please help me kill these five people." Following that, a burst of hearty laughter rang in the air as a terrifyingly cold wave of energy swept out from high above the sky. Snowflakes began to fall on Dancing Sun City as though winter had suddenly arrived. Chapter 400 Han Wang 4400 Han Wang. Unlike winter, Duan Ling Tian felt the freezing cold pierce through his bones. At the same time, the three demons next to Duan Ling Tian had already mobilized their divine energies to protect themselves from the cold. A supreme powerhouse who comprehends the law of ice. Duan Ling Tian mobilized his divine energy as he looked at the blue-clad young man who had appeared after the supreme demon, Kai Ming, spoke. The blue-clad young man was about 1.8 meters tall. He was handsome and possessed a pair of straight brows. His most eye-catching feature was his long azure hair that fluttered in the wind. Despite being shorter than Kai Ming, who was 3 meters tall, his aura was much more overbearing. Han Wang. The expressions of the five supreme powerhouses of Dancing Sun City changed immediately. A hint of fear could be seen in the depths of their eyes as they looked at the blue-clad young man standing across from them. Based on the five supreme powerhouses' reactions, Duan Ling Tian knew that the blue-clad young man must be extraordinary. Moreover, the blue-clad young man had to be stronger than Kai Ming. Otherwise, Kai Ming would have been so respectful or sought his help. At this time, an old woman, one of the five supreme powerhouses of Dancing Sun City, forced a smile on her face and said, "Lord Han Wang, there's no reason for you to help Kai Ming, right? The five of us and our respective forces have no enmity with you after all." The old woman did not expect Kai Ming to seek help from Han Wang, a sexless cultivator who was much stronger than her. Not too long ago, she had heard that Han Wang was living in seclusion near Dancing Sun City. At that time, she even thought about visiting him. Who knew that their first meeting would be under such circumstances? Following that, an old man cupped his fists together and bowed slightly at Han Wang before he said, "Han Wang, if you're willing to stay out of this matter, the five of us promise to compensate you generously. I guarantee you'll be satisfied with the compensation." The old man and the other four supreme powerhouses had discussed among themselves not long after Han Wang made his appearance. All of them agreed to offer Han Wang something as long as Han Wang did not intervene in this matter. After all, if the rumors were true, at least half of them would die if they fought Kai Ming and Han Wang. Not only that, but if Han Wang helped Kai Ming, all the five major forces of Dancing Sun City would be destroyed as well. A warm smile bloomed on the face of the blue-clad young man who brought winter to Dancing Sun City as he asked, "Really?" The five supreme powerhouses were stunned by Han Wang's smile. "Of course," the old man replied with a nod. Subsequently, Han Wang withdrew his energy, turning the dark expressions on the five supreme powerhouses' faces into smiles. "Lord Han Wang, you're free to go through our treasure vault or even our spatial rings and take what you like." "That's right, Lord Han Wang. This is a show of our sincerity." Han Wang laughed heartily before he said, Kai Ming, I'm sorry, but their offer is irresistible. Han Wang flashed and reappeared near the five supreme powerhouses. The five supreme powerhouses naturally did not let their guards down even though Han Wang had seemingly accepted their offer. In fact, they found it a little hard to believe that things went so smoothly. Kai Ming's expression darkened immediately upon seeing this. Han Wang, did you forget that you've accepted my things? Then he turned to look at the five supreme powerhouses and said, do you really think he's on your side now? Since he can break his promise to me, he can do the same to you too. Seeing that Kai Ming was upset, the troops of demons were furious. They began to howl and roar. Even the three demons next to Duan Ling Tian were furious. If looks could kill, Han Wang would have died many times over by now. Meanwhile, Duan Ling Tian was baffled by the sudden twist of events. The glorious image of a supreme powerhouse in his heart had also crumbled at this moment. He realized that supreme powerhouses were no different from ordinary people. However, after thinking about it for a moment, he could not help feeling that something was amiss. Kai Ming would not have taken such a huge risk if Han Wang was so unreliable. According to Tom Meng Sha, Han Wang was a reclusive supreme powerhouse who was stronger than Kai Ming. It was for this reason that Kai Ming sought Han Wang's help and gained the confidence to deal with the five supreme powerhouses of Dancing Sun City. On the other hand, after seeing how furious Kai Ming was, the five supreme powerhouses felt slightly more at ease. Nonetheless, they were still wary of Han Wang. At this time, Han Wang said, let me have a look at your respective treasure vaults now. I'll leave after I take what I want. Two of the five supreme powerhouses hesitated briefly while the others brought out their respective prominent divine artifacts. These prominent divine artifacts were not only their weapons, but they also possessed a storage space, which was used as their treasure vaults. Then they handed their prominent divine artifacts along with their spatial rings to Han Wang. Lord Han Wang, please have a look. After a brief moment, the remaining two supreme powerhouses followed suit and handed Han Wang their prominent divine artifacts and spatial rings as well. Upon seeing this scene, the members of the five forces of Dancing Sun City felt aggrieved and unwilling. Alas, there was nothing they could do. After all, they had no doubts that Han Wang was extremely strong based on how the five supreme powerhouses treated him. Our clan is going to suffer a huge loss. What a heavy price to pay. Han Wang extended his divine consciousness into the prominent divine artifacts and spatial rings, looking through the treasures inside. This is useless to me. Oh, the winter dust grass. Not bad, I'll take all of it. And this? Duan Ling Tian sighed inwardly as he watched Han Wang go through the five supreme powerhouses' possessions. He thought to himself with a hint of envy, I wonder when I'll be strong enough to make five supreme powerhouses let me go through their possessions and take whatever I want. That Han Wang must be having the time of his life now. If the five supreme powerhouses could read Duan Ling Tian's mind at this moment, they would have killed him immediately. All right, I'm done, Han Wang said with a bright smile on his face. On the contrary, the expressions of the five supreme powerhouses were rather unsightly at this moment. They did not expect Han Wang to be so shameless, taking almost all the valuable things in their treasure vaults and spatial rings. Fortunately, their and their clan's treasures were not all stored in one place. Otherwise, Han Wang would have taken everything. Finally, a young man, one of the five supreme powerhouses, asked politely, Lord Han Wang, since you've gotten what you want, are you going to leave now? The young man's voice shook slightly when he spoke. He felt like he was on the verge of a breakdown at this moment. Upon hearing the young man's words, the members of the five major forces looked at Han Wang in unison. Although the price was hefty, it was worth it as long as Han Wang did not intervene in this matter. Alas, the outcome was not what they had expected, and it left them stunned and furious. Han Wang asked nonchalantly, "Why should I leave?" Silence descended in Dancing Sun City as Han Wang's voice echoed through the city.